Good evening, and welcome to the Raleigh Board of Selectmen, July 28th, 2014 meeting. At this point, I'll call the meeting to order, and it's just a reminder, this meeting is being digitally and audio recorded. So we need to pledge allegiance to the flag. Roy, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
What's that?
Lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Roy. The next order is Chairman's comments, and I have none tonight. From 7:05 to 7:15, we will have citizens' query. If there's anybody in the audience that wants to ask some questions, we can listen to you. We can't take any action, but we certainly can listen to you and see what we can do. We have 4 appointments tonight. At 7:15, it's a joint meeting with the Water Board Commissioners to discuss the water treatment plant. At 7:30, public hearing for earth removal application submitted by Artistic Landscapes, LLC. 7:45, Fire Chief James Broderick to discuss the ladder truck. And 8 p.m., Bill Gaynor of the Raleigh Veterans Association to discuss Old Nancy Cannon project. So the time being not quite 7:05, we will go to the first general business, and it's lift hiring freeze for dispatcher position. General business number 1. July 22nd, Raleigh Board of Selectmen, Main Street, Raleigh. Honorable Board of Selectmen, I request that the board vote to lift the hiring freeze to allow me to hire a regular reserve dispatcher. This position is defined as an employee who is scheduled to work 20 or more hours, but less than 32 hours per week. This position would be covered under the ASME contract and will be eligible for benefits. As of August 1st, Charles Hazen will move from full-time dispatcher to full-time patrolman. This change will result in a reorganization of the dispatch schedule and will leave 3 shifts per week that are open. These shifts will need to be filled to reserve dispatchers, unscheduled non-union employees on a rotating basis. If no reserve dispatchers are available to work the open shift, they are offered to regular reserve dispatchers or full-time dispatchers, union employees, and then reserve police officers and full-time police officers. In recent months, these types of shifts have been increasingly unfilled by reserve dispatchers, causing increase in overtime in order to staff the communications center. By hiring a regular reserve dispatcher for these shifts would be permanently assigned to one person and would no longer go to overtime. It would also free up the reserve dispatchers to work the unscheduled absences such as sick time and vacation time, which is more what they are intended to do. There will be no change in the cost of any benefits paid to the new union employee, since we are currently paying Officer Hazen benefits as a dispatcher, which we will no longer need to do. Sincerely, Robert R. Barker, Chief of Police.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. The time being 7:05, the citizens' query is now open. General business number 2. Shine Counselor certification granted to Mary Ellen Mile. The Executive Office of Elder Affairs has certified Council on Aging Director Mary Ellen Mile as a Shine Counselor. SHINE stands for Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Everyone. Does the board wish to send Mary Ellen a letter? Congratulations on this professional achievement. There's a copy of the certificate.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to send Mary Ellen a letter of congratulations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. General business number 3, signed collective bargaining agreement between town and ASME Local 2950. We have the document here. And I can tell you right now, I'm not going to read it. Unless you want me to.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I thought that might be the case. So is there any discussion? Well, let me read the cover letter. Maybe that'll suffice. General business number 3, signed collective bargaining agreement between town and ASME Local 2950. Debbie has been working with the Labor Council on updating the ASME collective bargaining agreement. We have incorporated the memorandum of agreement into the updated collective bargaining agreement document. The board needs to sign the updated contract. There are 4 originals. The ASME leadership has signed this. This contract went into effect on July 1, 2013. So any discussion or questions on the contract?
I'll give you that motion to sign, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, we can just save that for later and have you sign it after.
Okay. I'll set it aside. All right, the time now being almost 7:10. Okay, new business number 1. And it's physical 15 reappointments and appointments, town council conflict of interest letter. I really didn't mean it. Physical 15 reappointments, appointments, town council conflict of interest letter. On June 30th, 2014, Donald Russo was appointed in error to the Board of Registrars until June 30th, 2015. He needs to be unappointed from the Board of Registrars. He was correctly appointed as a limited health agent on July 14th, 2014.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Chairman, to appoint him to the Board of Registrars.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made and seconded to unappoint Donald Russo to the Board of Registrars. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I will call for a motion. I think that's it. We don't need to reappoint him to the registrars. He's already a limited health agent. Okay, the second item on this list is we have received the attached conflict of interest opinion from Bracken and Lucas. The selectmen should hold off on making a decision on this until 1 or 2 selectmen meet with ZBA Chairman Don Thurston and Dave Lebec to discuss this. We will try to take this up during the August 11th, 2014 Selectmen's meeting. Should I read the letter from
Well, I think we've already given it to the board
Okay.
last week.
Okay, so the board will have a chance to review that and we can talk about it.
Should have had an opportunity to review it, so I'm not sure what the next step is for the board. If you want to discuss that at this point.
I think,
I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we have yourself and maybe one of the selectmen meet with, because it's the zoning board of appeals appointment, and we should discuss it with obviously the nature of the letter with Chairman Don Thurston of the ZBA. And Mr. Lebec, if he so chooses to attend as a result of the possible conflict with him.
right,
And then we can, once we meet with those parties or whoever meets with them, we can, at our next meeting, we can make the appointment or not make it, depending on what goes on.
we can then make a decision after
But we
that.
can make it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. We'll just sit down with them and we can discuss it and see what their thoughts are.
Just as a point, I would be happy as the current chair of the personnel board, since it's a town employee, to meet with you or whoever meets with Don Thurston at a convenient time to discuss the issue, so we're all on the same page.
Right, no, that would be a good idea, Dave. So why don't we do that?
I concur.
Okay. So I should take care of that one.
So, Mr. Chairman, the board originally made that vote to hold this for July 30th.
Okay, so we want to put it ahead till,
Extended to sometime in August.
Yeah, at this point, I said maybe we'll extend it. We extended it 30 days. Maybe we'll extend the appointment to another 30 days until we get this matter,
till we can discuss it.
until we can discuss it and make a determination what the board wants to do.
Okay. Any
Whatever we
further?
should say too in deference to.
I'm not sure, you're talking about the appointment to the ZBA?
Yes,
Yeah, just we extended it 30 days.
because it actually expired on June 30th.
Right. I'm wondering, because of the content of the letter, I'm wondering if there's any adjudication to be done in that time period, and if something happens to come up, it could, there could be a conflict there. I would think we would hold off on the appointment to reappoint until we have the meeting. I'm just thinking of ahead.
No,
I don't want to put the town in a position or Mr. Levesque.
No, I think I understand what you're trying to say, Bob. It's, if he should vote on something and then
That's right.
if it goes the other way, then it may be challenged.
Or somebody challenges it,
Yeah.
and that may put him in a precarious position,
And the town.
and the town.
Right.
So I would think to hold off, just, for both the town and Mr. Levesque's sake.
Yeah, I have no objection to that. That'd be fine.
So I would hold off on the reappointment until we get a clarification. Or until you have a meeting. at least.
Meeting. So after,
Yes.
so we need to actually probably push it ahead till at least the 11th.
I would think so.
What's the date that the 11th
It's a Monday.
is a Monday
2 weeks.
in 2 weeks?
So you,
So what I'm thinking is if we could say the 11th, but if it's, for some reason, one or the other can't make it, then we'd be stuck again. What's the Friday of that week, Deb?
that would be August 15th.
We put it ahead till August 15th. The zoning board meets, what, twice a month?
The third Thursday of every month.
The third Thursday, so if the 15th would probably only be the second.
Well, there's no.
I know this handicaps the ZBA, but I'm just thinking, if something just came up,
Well, at this point, our meeting should come up before they meet again
Yes,
anyway. Right?
okay.
So why don't we just hold off
until then.
everything until the 5th, until our next meeting? In the meantime, we will have discussed this with Don Thurston and Mr. Levesque.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't really have to take any action tonight at all.
Okay, that all set?
Time, I think, Bob.
Okay, I think, we have some guests that are gonna be coming in from the hallway.
Yes, I know that we are scheduled on the agenda at 7:15 for that joint meeting. So we have to stick to the schedule.
Okay. So, the time being, I can't quite see the
And we
shadow.
know we're
It's
not having a
7:15
joint
now.
meeting, so it probably won't
Yeah, we
take.
need to have, and there's not enough water board members here, so I think we're just gonna have them come.
Come forward and just go over
Roy,
the update. And Mr.
Roy's here from
Sakari.
the chairman of the water board, and Mr. Sikora from Weston and Sampson. If you guys want to come up front, rather than having a joint meeting, we'll just have a discussion with you guys on the status of the water treatment plant. They don't have a quorum, so there's no need to have a joint meeting. How you guys doing? Good.
How are you?
Okay, this is our 7:15 appointment, it's a joint meeting. Well, it won't be a joint meeting, but it will be a meeting with the water board to discuss the water treatment plant. The Board of Selectmen needs an update from the water board on the status of the water treatment plant construction. The town is under administrative consent order from DEP And August 1st is just a few days away, and the ACO extension will expire on August 15th. Building Inspector Ken Ward told Debbie that he hasn't received any paperwork since receiving the lengthy punch list back on May 29th. He said that he hasn't received anything from the architect and hasn't been asked to do any inspections. He said that he received an email from John Sikora, who's with us tonight, sent Chief Broderick regarding a fire alarm inspection on August 1st. So, we have a few questions here that we would like to ask. And one of them, I guess the first one is, what is the plan to complete the remaining items? Do we have anything, or do we know what items need to be completed?
So, I'll give you a rundown of where we are right now.
Yep.
The phone line, we're waiting for that. It's been installed. With the phone line being installed, we can go ahead and test the fire alarm system. And that's, like you saw that email, we contacted Chief Broderick just to give him a heads up that on August 1st, they're going to be on site, hopefully in the morning, testing the fire alarm system. If all goes well, we'll be contacting Chief Broderick to come out in the afternoon for the inspection. If things get hung up, it may be pushed to the beginning of that following week. That was the remaining item on the life safety list
Okay.
from the punch list. To address the punch list, there was, I think, roughly 20 pages of items. It's down to 4 pages now. A lot of those items are line items that will be completed once the plan is online. So those will disappear in time. Some of the other items are related to that fire alarm testing. So again, that will compress.
Okay.
You did bring up one of the items I wanted to talk about was the ACO deadline of August 15th.
Yep.
Barbara Cook from my office has been contacting DEP in the past, and that was a question I had tonight was, do you want Weston and Sampson to continue to contact DEP to ask for an extension of time on that ACO?
That's a good question.
What's the status of when you're expecting the plant to come online?
So,
Or before we answer the other question?
so if the fire alarm testing goes well, I would assume that a certificate of occupancy would follow that by possibly a few days. With that being said, that would mean the town would take over the insurance policy on the building, and at that time, that the operators could come in and start operating the treatment plant.
What's the status? The building inspector has not received. Last time I talked to him, and apparently I don't know when Mrs. Egan talked to him, but he'd received no sign-offs.
Yeah, he's looking for
what's the status of that?
He's looking for the documentation that
Right.
is being
He's not
held
going
up
to
by
sign
this.
off until that documentation comes in.
And it all comes down to the phone line being in and testing the fire alarm system. And once that's operable, then all that, the sign-offs will happen.
So you're in other words, the current construction stage, you're anticipating that once, assuming that the fire alarm inspection goes properly, that by the 15th, that you would be barring problems, you'd be expecting you could sign off on an occupancy permit?
Correct, yes. Now, we've run into many issues. One, I'm not, I would prefer that the town requests an extension for maybe some unforeseen circumstance we could run into. For example, the phone line took longer than expected because the town's lines were plugged. They had to be excavated. That was in an unforeseen condition. So, again, I think it would, the timing may be close, but I think it would be in the town's best interest to get an extension.
So we're looking at a 30-day extension, is that what you're looking for, or a 2-week extension?
I would ask for a 30-day extension, minimum, yes.
We should put it till September 1st or August
September
30th or
15th.
whatever.
I think we would need to do that.
So is the funding in place Roy, that allows us, because that's an increased cost on our part to hire Weston and Sampson
That's
for
correct.
a continued period.
You know, one of the items to remember is, you know, that'll get the plant running. There's still 6 to 8 weeks of work that follow behind that, which is the work at well station 5, where those pumps are being removed, those wells are being cleaned, and then new pumps are also being installed.
So well 5 hasn't been cleaned yet.
That's correct. And that cannot be done because that's a major producer right now for your water system.
Still it's online.
So are we realistically talking about Weston and Sampson being extended for really almost a 60 or a 90-day period? Is that what I'm,
Yeah, it would be
is that what I'm hearing?
It would be a minimum of 6 weeks after the plant goes online. That's correct.
So we're talking like a 2-month,
That's a month and a half, so it should be 2 months.
a 60 day. So at this point, we'd be talking a 60-month extension.
We looking October 1st?
I guess, yeah, basically, because you're talking about month of August and the month of September.
You know, and so you know, we've scaled down our scope at this point.
Right.
Waiting for this, we're trying to spend as little time as possible on the project because we are aware that
Well, at this point, we're down to the final nuts and bolts.
That's correct.
And
And
if
the building's up. It's
assuming that the fire alarm inspection goes well, then we should be able to start moving forward. Chief?
It's
yeah,
just
sorry.
not the fire alarm, it's also the sprinkler system has to be tested.
Correct.
In conjunction
Right.
with the fire alarm. So any one of those things, there's 2 sprinkler systems and the fire alarm, any one of those could cause a delay.
The
if they
sprinkler
don't pass.
system testing is basically the pressure test, right, correct?
Well, test to make sure that when the system's activated, it sends an alarm an appropriate amount of time.
Okay.
And as far as I'm aware, they're trying to do that all in that short period of time. So that's all done.
And that doesn't take into account the building inspector's inspection after that.
Correct.
So if he finds some issues, that'll also
And
delay it.
I am going on vacation August 11th for 2 weeks till the 25th, so if it doesn't, everything gets fixed by the 8th for the fire department, it has to wait till I come back.
Maybe you guys ought to write that down.
I had communicated with Chief
Okay.
Broderick, and he was
Okay.
great, and letting me know that, and
Yeah.
I had let
John, the landline is up and tested. It is working.
It is. Instant Alarm, who the town uses for their alarm monitoring, had been to the site and checked that to make sure that there is a dial tone, there is a signal at the fire alarm system
Okay.
and in the building. Yeah.
So that's up, that's tested, that's working. Instant Alarm has done all their testing. Okay, so the next thing would be, again, the fire.
The
and
fire
spring-
system as a whole.
The fire system as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if the chief inspects the system the first or thereabouts, and if it passes, then his part of the inspection process is complete? Or does he have to go back again for a final?
I could do all my stuff when I'm out there and then pass it along to Ken, and if everything's all right, then he could sign.
Because we don't want to get held up if you're going to be on
Right.
vacation. in
No,
other words.
I could take care of all my stuff out
Okay.
when I'm out there on the 1st.
And the contractor submits some NFPA documents to the fire protection engineer. They're going to review that. That's when that sign off will happen. You know, right now I have that document. It's waiting for the fire protection sign off. The architectural has been signed off. The process.
This shouldn't be, the testing shouldn't be a long drawn out process.
It should,
It shouldn't.
it should. Not to say that it won't.
Things happen. So again, the plant should be a 30-day extension on the plant, but again, you have to realize it could be 6 to 8 weeks beyond that period for the project completion as a whole.
And that's what the ACO goes to, the project completion.
Correct. Yes.
Now, is that a vote we have to take to extend that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, because it's, the consent order was issued against the town, not the water department individually. I am concerned about that, and I did speak to the building inspector this afternoon, and he said he has not seen anything since that May 24th paperwork he received. nothing from the architect, so I'm concerned about the August 15th deadline. And the fact that, you know, yes, he may be able to go and do the inspection shortly after the fire chief completes his and signs off. But if he hasn't had a chance to review anything,
So we
He's
really
going
need
out
to
there,
extend the
right?
extent order
I
to
really think
30
that
days.
we're gonna need to have Weston and Sampson continue in their role and make this extension request.
But Weston and Sampson's contract is extended by the water board, not
That's
ours.
right.
We extend the
Consent order.
consent order, or request to have them,
We will need to request that the water board extend their contract with Weston and Sampson so that they can make the request on behalf of us, because they have the technical expertise to lay out what the points are in the project that the DEP will understand. So it would really be in our best interest to have them continue to do that.
so I'd make a motion then at this point to extend that contract, Weston and Sampson. Or request the water board to extend it, and that the ACO consent order be extended for 30 days. Is that what we're looking at, Debbie?
That would be
Well, that
September
would bring it
5th.
to September 15th and,
You said we need what?
And then you'd
16?
need 6 to 8 weeks beyond that.
All right, so we'll do
And again,
a 60-day extension then?
Barbara Cook has been taking care of the
Right.
extensions. I'll check in with Barbara. We're gonna do what's best for the town.
Right, right.
Um,
I mean, we need to
we'll
give
also
it
talk
an
to DEP.
request a 60-day extension at this point.
That brings us up to October 15th.
And then if we got other problems, then we'll deal with them as we go along.
Best
I think
case
that's
scenario,
fair.
we don't need the extra 15 days.
Yeah,
Say it's October 15th.
yeah. So the water board will need to vote that also, so
Yeah.
I'll make the motion to.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so there's a motion been made and seconded to request the water board to do the extensions that are required, both as Weston and Sampson and with the DEP on the ACO. Is there any further discussion?
for water treatment plant, yes. It's water treatment plant listed.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
There's a question here, Mr. Chairman, about the fence, what the status is of the fence out there.
Yes. What is the status of the fence installation?
I'd say 95% of the fence has been installed. There is a separate contract that was procured through Raleigh Water, and I believe the final pricing is coming in on that. The materials were delivered to the site that were left over from the water treatment plant project.
Okay.
I'd have to check in with Carmine and find out what the status is there.
Yeah, I think Carmine stopped in the other day, and he mentioned that they were having a contract possibly with, I forget the company.
Agawam Fence.
Agawam
Company.
Fence, local fence company, so that's probably, it's not complete, I think it's just in the
Fairly
pipeline, it
close,
should be
yeah.
completed
Should be getting close. then.
without any difficulty, so.
Do we know how much retainage is left?
Yes, 56,000, 56,450. There's also a balance to finish of 219,000. So that's a total of, roughly $280,000.
Okay.
I guess the last thing on our list is a container at the end of Pingree Farm Road, like a storage container. Is that involved? I assume that's a project, a container? The fire chief had written a letter about it blocking access to the, fire access to the woods and, or the, further, do you know anything about that, John? or-
That is a construction trailer. I will ask the contractor if that can be removed. That was part of an ongoing litigation, the contractor and their subcontractor, Margin, I don't know if you remember any of
Yeah,
that.
okay, so that'll get, that will be removed ASAP. If you can do that, that'd be great.
Especially before the snow comes, it's not an issue at the moment, but once we start getting plowable snow.
Oh, yeah, it should be out of there long before,
Yeah, we
famous last words.
We certainly hope so. anyway.
Long before that.
One of those items I wanted to revisit was the insurance. The town should be in the process right now of getting that insurance and being ready for that certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Well, that's something I can handle, so I'm just maybe I can just exchange a couple emails with
That's
you,
great.
because I need values of contents as well as the shell of the building.
Anything else, John, that you can update us on?
I think that's it for now. Roy, did you have anything that
No.
you wanted me to discuss?
I'll see it online.
Just want, are we gonna give the water board a copy of the motion that we want them to,
Yes, we'll issue an
we
official
want them to
action
pass so that
notice.
we have the correct wording in the,
We will send them an official action notice when the board is elected.
okay, so you'll get that, Roy, so we
For-
can make,
For tomorrow's meeting.
to extend the contract, it just makes the wording
To
correct.
October 1st.
Particularly with regards to
15.
DEP, so that we
For the consent order, because that really should be sent as
And
soon
we're
as
gonna have,
possible.
They probably need a
President
copy.
Sampson take care of that, correct?
Right, but they need a copy of the verbiage, I'm sure.
Yes.
The DEP. So.
And then if Robert Cook will be able to turn that around fairly quickly, because August 15th is close.
Roy, what time do you meet tomorrow night?
6.
6.
I'm set, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, did you got any other questions for us? Okay, we should be all set then.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Roy, take care.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Our next appointment at 7:30 will be public hearing, earth removal application submitted by Artistic Landscapes LLC.
But yeah, is there anybody here from LLC?
I don't know, is there anybody here from LLC?
A bunch of people out in the hallway.
Just check, Chief, if anybody here is from Artistic Landscapes.
Yeah, we did receive a confirmation from the applicant that he will be here.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. You're not allowed in.
Someone's coming in.
Philip, sure.
Oh, okay.
Chief, can you leave that open? Thank you. Just a little bit. There we go.
Good evening, how are you?
Okay, time being almost 7:30. We're a little bit past, and we apologize for the tardiness, but
Hey.
okay, our 7:30 appointment is a public hearing, earth removal application submitted by Artistic Landscaping LLC. The chairman reads the earth removal public hearing notice into the record. The notice is published in the Town Common newspaper twice in the July 9th and 15th edition and July 16th to 22nd edition. The notice was mailed to the abutters. I will read the notice. Town of Raleigh Board of Selectmen Earth Removal Permit. Legal notice is hereby given that a hearing will be held by the Raleigh Board of Selectmen on July 28, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. at Raleigh Town Hall on the application of Artistic Landscapes LLC, 111 Newburyport Turnpike, Raleigh, Mass. 01969 for a permit under the provisions of the Town of Raleigh Earth Removal General Bylaw to remove an estimated 1,500 yards of soil from 111 Newburyport Turnpike, also identified as parcel 17 on the Raleigh Assessors Map 14. Any person interested or wishing to comment should attend this hearing. Selectmen will accept written comments. Raleigh Board of Selectmen, Robert Murray, Chairman. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'll give you the motion to open the hearing.
I'll second.
have a motion to open the hearing, the public hearing. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The public hearing is open. If the applicant could come forward and I'll ask you,
Yeah, I guess I jumped the gun. You probably mentioned it was advertised.
actually, I read that when
You
I,
did that?
yeah,
Okay.
when I first did it. It's actually in the public notice
Okay.
itself. Yeah. And provide us with a summary of what he's going to be doing at the site and why he needs to remove approximately 1,500 yards of soil.
Hello, I'm Tony Hurley. I'm the owner of Artistic Landscapes, and my goal is to put in a 100-foot by 65-foot steel building. That'll be my company's office. So we've gone through and received our building permits, etc., the conservation approval, and upon excavating and preparing the site, the loam was deeper than expected. Some areas was 3 feet deep. That's not suitable for the building or to put the driveway space in. So we need to remove that, we'll screen it, we'll bring in better fill that's correct for under a building and for parking and for driving. And then after we screen it, I do have a landscaping business, so we'll be bringing all that loam back in and using that to landscape. But we will not need all 1,500 yards.
Okay. Okay, we have received comments from the following town departments, which will be read into the record. Health, Conservation Commission, Building Inspector, Planning, Police, and Highway. So it sounds like I do have to read some of this stuff. Okay. Legal notice. Okay, a memo from the Board of Health. That's for the earth removal permit at 111 Newburyport Turnpike, map 14, parcel 17. The Health Department has reviewed the application for a special permit for earth removal from the above referenced property and does not have any issues regarding the proposed removal. The Board of Health recommends the property owner inform the company and workers conducting the removal the exact location of the proposed septic system components and leach field, as well as any other subsurface utilities to avoid any potential impact. So I'm assuming that they would say that for two reasons. One is if there's a septic system there, they certainly don't want it damaged. And if there's no septic system there, then they wouldn't want to damage the soil that will become the leaching system.
Correct.
So,
The area that will be the septic, we have not touched. We've left that as native soil.
okay. I think that's what they're looking for there. Okay, Rowley Conservation Commission. Special permit earth removal, 111 Newburyport Turnpike, map 14, parcel lot 17. Please be advised, the Conservation Department has reviewed the above subject application submittals as well as having a familiarity with the project due to 2 prior permit applications, stormwater management and order of conditions. The Conservation Department offers the following comments related to this application. The application package acknowledges the existence of the issued order of conditions, RCC number 05-2013, dated December 13, 2013, and the stormwater management permit number 10-2013, dated December 31st, 2013. Both permits govern proposed site development and construction activities, including earth disturbances activities. This office believes that incorporation of the existing requirements and conditions of the above-cited permit should be adequate to protect activities related to earth removal from the site, with the exception of A, requesting that inspections related to tracking of soil on the Newburyport Turnpike Route 1 should be conducted on a daily basis in order to ensure public safety. Tracked soils and dislodged sediment should be immediately addressed if transported onto the surface on Route 1. And B, that conditions of wind-blown dust or sediments be addressed by the application of water and not the use of a chemical wetting agent due to the project's location in the DEP-approved Groundwater Protection Area Zone 2. The Conservation Department requests consideration and inclusion of the above recommendations in the proposed earth removal permit issuance. Thanks for the opportunity to offer comments on this proposal. Please advise me if I can be of any further assistance. So that doesn't sound like
You're in agreement with that?
I'm in agreement.
You don't have a problem.
And luckily it won't rain, you don't have to worry about the tracking. Okay, Ken Ward, Rowley Building Inspector. In reference to the earth removal permit at 111 Newburyport Turnpike. I have no issues with the issuance of an earth removal permit for 111 Turnpike. Ken? That was easy. Actually the Planning Board. Honorable Board of Selectmen Planning Board, earth removal permit 111 Newburyport Turnpike, artistic landscapes. In response to Amy Loudon's memo dated July 2nd, 2014, requesting the Planning Board provide its input on the above-cited earth removal permit application in regards to its compliance with the site plan review approval for the artistic landscapes. Be advised that at their meeting on July 9th, 2014, the Planning Board took formal action to direct the engineering consultant, H.L. Graham and Associates, to conduct an inspection of the site to ascertain that the applicant's proposal to remove 1,500 cubic yards of earth material from the site complies with the requirements of the approved site plan review. It was further decided by the board that Mr. Graham's findings should be forwarded to the town planner so they could be conveyed to the Board of Selectmen in time for the applicant's scheduled public hearing on July 28th. Mr. Graham conducted a site inspection on July 18th, 2014, and reported them to the Planning Board office in writing in a memorandum dated July 21st, 2014, see attached. In the memo, the engineer states that the site work underway is being accomplished in substantial compliance with the approved plans. Mr. Graham further affirms in his report that the large pile of loam currently collected on site needs to be removed in order to conduct any further site work. Mr. Graham concludes by stating that he has no objection to the removal of the 1,500 cubic yards of earth materials subject to this request. And we also have a copy of Mr. Graham's report, 111 Newburyport Turnpike. Dear Board, on this site I made a site inspection at the above referenced site. The inspection was made at the request of the Board by Kurt Baker's email to me July 17, 2014. Based on my observations, the site work underway is being accomplished in substantial compliance with approved plans. There is a large pile of loam on site which must be removed so that the site work can proceed. That loam, I assume, is the subject of the earth removal application, 1,500 cubic yards of July 2nd, 2014. In my opinion, I see no objection to the removal of said material from the site. This removal will allow the site contractor to continue with the approved site work. H.L. Graham Associates. Okay, Rowley Police Department. Earth removal permit at 111 Newburyport Turnpike. I have reviewed the application submitted for the removal of approximately 1,500 yards of earth from 111 Newburyport Turnpike. From a police perspective, we are typically concerned with the traffic noise and potential crime when reviewing applications. The location of this proposal is non-residential, so it is unlikely to create any disturbances. Likewise, there seems little potential for an increase in crime due to this application. The addition of this estimated 12 truckloads per day will have negative impact on the traffic in the area. I would suggest that a temporary construction vehicle warning sign be erected on the northbound side of Route 1 near the crest of the hill, south of the exit driveway, to give northbound motorists notice that slow-moving vehicles may be exiting since the sight line is more limited than that of the southbound lane. Otherwise, I have no objection to this application. Respectfully submitted, Robert R. Barker, Chief of Police. And he does have a good point with that sign. They do come up over that hill quite fast, as you probably already witnessed. And there isn't much room there. Okay. This is the Highway Department has no concerns or objections to the earth removal at 111 Newburyport Turnpike. Thank you. Patrick Snow, Highway Surveyor, Freeport. Okay, I think that covers most of the things we needed to cover. So, is there any discussion from the board?
All set, Mr. Chairman.
Hearing no discussion, what is the board's
Public comment.
public comment? Yep. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or comments for either the applicant or the selectman? And if so, please clearly state their full name and address for the record. Is there anybody here? Hearing none. If there are no further comments from the applicant or the audience, we will call for a motion and vote to close the public hearing. The Board of Selectmen.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The Board of Selectmen then discuss the application and vote to either approve it with the comments from the town departments included as conditions, along with any other conditions imposed by the board, or deny, and with the reasons why clearly stated.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the permit with the comments from the Conservation Commission, as well as Police Department. I think is the only other one that had it.
In the health department.
I'll second it.
Oh, and the Health Department, right, yeah.
Motion made and seconded?
Would you like to just include all the comments and attach it? Because
Yeah.
there is some, the
Well-
planning board does have some,
Yes, they mentioned
Comments
about
to-
the comment with the sign, and we want to include that one for sure. And then I think it was the Conservation Commission.
Yeah, I'll just make the motion with all the comments received from the board. so
And then that
it
way
makes it
the
easy.
others will be attached to it too, so
Right.
if there's any question about why, then we know that there was no requirement for it, so it should work out fine. Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Sounds like you have your permit.
Right.
Because we have approved it, the permit will be typed this week and promptly filed with the town clerk.
it follows chapter 40A, similar to probably what you just said, too, so it does get filed with the town clerk.
Yes. Yeah.
And it can be appealed by an abutter.
I think they have, what, 20
There's
days?
20 days
20
after it's
days to
filed with the
appeal.
town clerk.
You don't have many abutters.
No, and
Okay.
All right.
Email address. I'll just call you when it's, okay, sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Welcome to Raleigh.
Good luck. Thanks. Welcome. Thanks again.
Okay. Our next appointment at 7:45. And we were there again, we're about 4 minutes slow here, so
Good.
we're not doing too bad. And it's Fire Chief James Broderick to discuss the ladder truck. Okay, Chief, if I remember right, the last time we met, you gave us a breakdown on the truck, and we had some questions on the financing.
Yes,
Okay, is that what we're going to discuss tonight?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, you do have the whole complete packet that Chief Broderick provided at the last meeting, but really the focal point for this discussion will sort of be the narrow issue on what payment method you'd like to follow in contract with MAPC. And we have the memo from the treasurer on that, where there was discussion on the prompt payment. We pay up front and we get a refund in the form of a check when he goes to actually pick up the truck. And how would you handle that refund of almost $18,000? So Karen addresses that in her memo.
Okay. So basically what we want to do is the board wants to do, or needs to discuss the payment options. As we previously discussed, we will pay up front for the ladder truck. We will be refunded $17,671.99. Now, Chief, when you get to that point, I will give you the extra penny,
Well, thank you.
okay? So we can make it a nice, even, round figure. We asked Treasurer Karen Summit to review this. She has provided a memo to the Board of Selectmen, which is attached. If the board wishes to proceed with the prompt payment plan, then this needs to be voted on. Okay, it's on the Board of Selectmen, Karen H. Summit, July 28th, borrowing for new fire truck. I have started the process of borrowing the funds to pay for the new fire truck, because we are going to be receiving a rebate of approximately $18,000. See, there we go. It's not gonna be, it's actually gonna be $18,672 when the truck is delivered. I'm going to do a short-term borrowing for the full amount, $735,000. And when we receive the rebate, we will pay down the rebate amount and then borrow the net amount for the remainder of the term, which I think what she's headed for is because that'll save us some interest. Because once we reduce the permanent borrowing. In my opinion, this is the best way for the town to take advantage of the rebate, reduce the interest cost on the remainder of the borrowing. Please contact me if you have any questions. CC. So, does the board get a discussion?
Sounds good to me, Mr. Chairman.
Sounds like it's all cut and dry.
Sounds like a good plan.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I think if there's any way we can save some money, then even though it's not a huge amount comparatively, but it is an amount that's significant. So, that'll be
You need
good.
a motion on that?
Yes.
I'll give you the motion to.
It may not seem like a lot of money, $18,000, but we could come down at budget time.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah,
end of the
it
year,
is. It all adds up.
$18,000 and, you know,
I'll
in a
second
$14 million
Dave's
budget, it's a lot of money.
motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So, Chief, do you sign the, in enclosure 5, the agreement, or will that be,
I believe it's the selectmen.
it says fire department representative, so what we would need then is a motion by the board to sign that? Is that, am I
Good plan.
correct?
I'm gonna defer that to you. I was under the impression it was the town that was signing it. I didn't think I was the agent, but,
Fire department representative,
Yeah.
because the board can take a vote tonight to authorize you to sign that
yeah, I mean,
if
that's,
they wish to do
if they
so.
wish to do so. If not,
What page is that on, Deb?
That was enclosure, I wasn't sure, there's an enclosure 5 and an enclosure 6, Chief.
Well, I'll give you a motion to authorize the chief to sign on behalf of the contract for the. If that's
I'll
okay
second
with the- If that's okay with the board, it just makes it faster and easier.
the
Yeah,
one,
signed by
the
me.
one question I have is, when will the money be available? Because that's when, we have 21 days from the time we sign the document to have the money. So we gotta,
Probably have
Time
to
is-
check with Karen,
Yeah,
because she's doing the borrowing,
yeah.
so check with her.
okay.
She said she was in contact with you
Yeah, I
today
was
on the
talking to her
timetables.
today, yeah.
So I think as long as you have the authorization from the selectmen, and the
yeah.
agreement is with the Metropolitan
Right.
Area Planning
Correct.
Commission,
Correct.
MAPC is the collaborative
Right.
purchasing authority. It
So
won't be with Green.
I'll touch base with Karen
So if we
tomorrow.
could just get a copy of whatever you signed for the
I guess I will.
Okay, motion made and
Yeah,
seconded.
Jack seconded, I believe, right?
And again, oh,
No, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. No. I can wait.
You got a comment?
No comment.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Just one
Congratulations.
question, Chief. How long will it take to see the building of it? Again, just for,
I'm gonna say the end of March, and if it comes in earlier, that's great.
okay.
They feel it'll be done earlier than that, and so we're possibly looking at February.
Oh, great.
But I'm gonna stick with March because I just know how my luck goes. If it comes in earlier than that,
bonus.
it's another Christmas present.
Yeah,
This is number 2.
Very good.
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief, for coming in. Okay. The next appointment is at 8 p.m., time being 7:50.
We have some time, we could probably bring in new business number 2.
New business number 2.
There's
That's
a
all the people in the hall.
large number
Yep.
of people up
Do number 2.
there. Chief,
Letter from Police Chief Robert Barker.
Chief Barker and Matt is it.
Yes.
Have some look me back. Try to squeeze it. Can you put your daughter on this one? Wife?
So, what do I do with the other part of that?
We have a few spectators this evening. We'll try to squeeze as many in as we can.
Big night.
Got There's a couple open seats up in the back here, so.
Yeah, this is the air conditioning.
Chief, if you want to grab that chair for...
Extra room.
There's still a couple of more chairs in here if anybody wants to come in and...
Actually, I'm gonna stand on the other side.
Yeah,
Can I block the TV over there?
that's all right. We don't want to look at that anyway. We're looking at ourselves on that one. Not a good sight. Come on in, folks. You can stand over this
Yeah,
side,
come on
too.
in.
I'm sure you want to be part of that. When we turn this appointment down, we want you all to see it.
Kevin, point your room over here.
Now, Chief Barry, ex-Chief Barry.
Men, how are we?
Supper fine.
Bob?
Hi, Chief.
How are you?
David?
What chairs they sit? Guys, you just...
Is that your daddy?
Is that Daddy? Is that your daddy?
All right.
Okay.
Still got some more room in here, folks, if you want to come in. And why don't a couple of you ladies come right around the side over here? That'd be fine.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, how are you?
I want to do that.
You want to do what? You want to go see it?
I want to go run over there.
Okay, I guess we got everybody in that wants to be here.
Okay, so we're on to new business number 2, and it's a letter from Police Chief Robert Barker, re-detective appointment. It's Raleigh Board of Selectmen, Main Street, Raleigh, Mass. Dear Honorable Board of Selectmen. As you may be aware, Detective Lieutenant Joseph Gamache will be retiring on December 25th of this year after serving the town for 30 years. He has been our primary investigator for 23 years. A position that is vital to effective and efficient services to the town. In order to address the loss of our primary investigator, I respectfully request that you appoint Officer Matthew Ziv of Main Street, Raleigh, to the position of detective effective August 1st, 2014 and expiring June 30th, 2017. Officer Ziv came to the Raleigh Police Department 9 years ago as a reserve police officer and became a full-time officer 2 years later. He was previously employed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Sex Offender Registry Board, where he worked as an analyst. During his career with the Raleigh Police Department, he has participated in many investigations, including several drug trafficking cases which resulted in the seizure of large quantities of illegal narcotics and 2 automobiles. He is a training cybercrime investigator and a member of the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, Clandestine Laboratory Enforcement Team. Officer Ziv has shown an affinity for investigative work over the years and was recommended for a position by a selection panel consisting of myself, Detective Lieutenant Gamache, and 2 other detectives from other area police departments. I feel confident that Officer Ziv will serve the department and the community in an exemplary fashion in his new capacity as detective. Sincerely, Robert R. Barker, Police Chief. So it doesn't sound like we have to do too much discussion on that myself. I don't think we do anyway.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman, to appoint Officer Ziv.
I like my comment. Officer Zev, I am very impressed. I can't praise Officer Zev enough. I have gone down to the police department many times and talked to Officer Zev. He knows everything that's going on in this town. I'm very impressed with his knowledge. We are very fortunate in this town to have Officer Zev. And again, I can't praise you enough.
Thank you.
I'll second Mr. Peterson's motion.
Motion. Sounds good to me. There's a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Congratulations.
Hearing none, we are appointed.
Thank you, Chief.
Very good. wish you good luck, and your crime-fighting skills are
We'll be seeing a lot more of
going
Matt,
to be
that's for sure.
valuable, so.
And another round of applause.
Just to add what Mr. Snow said in terms of, we're all around town very often. My wife runs the housing authority, and everywhere I go, and people I talk to have nothing but praise. And you're always, I drove the school bus, you're out there, always very friendly with the parents and the kids, and he presents a real great image for the police department in the town of Raleigh, and we know you'll continue to do that. And thank you very much for all you've done and what you will do in the future.
What you don't see is the stuff that he does on his own time as well. When he's
Yes.
not working, he's on Facebook and making connections with people and things like that. And that's what really he brings to the table that's kind of non-tangible.
Well, I think it's important because we're bringing back, when Chief Barry left, we kind of combined the position of detective and deputy chief into the detective lieutenant's position. So this is, for the first time in a number of years, we're bringing back the position strictly of detective by itself, which will give you plenty of time to do a lot of good work and provide a lot of good service for the town. So I think it's an important step for you and an important step for us and the police department. So, thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much, Selectman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Good job. Keep that yard nice over there.
Yeah, I work hard.
Have to keep an eye on the road. Driving along the road.
I know you are.
See you later, Chief.
Always a good day meeting another Marine. It's always a good day meeting another Marine.
I can sit right here.
Okay, new business number 3.
Take care,
Letter
folks.
of resignation from Police Lieutenant Detective Joseph Gamache. To Chief Robert Barker from Detective Lieutenant Joseph J. Gamache. Chief Barker, I am notifying you that I will be retiring from the Raleigh Police Department effective December 25th, 2014. It has been an honor to have such a member of the department and to serve the good citizens of the town for over the past 30 years. I wish to thank the town of Raleigh for the opportunity to work here all these years. The department has grown considerably from when it was first started in 1984 to today, where it is now an accredited agency and a model police department. Now it is time for me to move on and end my career as a Raleigh police officer. Again, I thank you very much. Respectfully submitted, Joseph J. Gamache, Detective Lieutenant, Raleigh Police Department. Joe, I can't believe it.
Me either. I'm not going anywhere.
I know you're not. And I know how hard a decision that is to make.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I really do. And you deserve it. You need to take a little time off and enjoy the other things that can happen out there. I hope you get something lined up to keep you busy, though.
Yeah, actually, Kevin has provided me with an opportunity.
Well, that's good.
So
That is very
I
good.
think I might be rejoining Chief Barry again down the road.
Wonderful.
So it'll be
Those
another
poor bus drivers.
team again. Yeah, the poor bus drivers.
Getting out just in time.
But like I said, it's hard to move on, and but it's time. 30 years. It's with anything you do, you get over a period of time. It's you know when you get kind of burned a little bit, and
Yep. Yep.
but it's tough to do for me, especially in this year. This is where I grew up, and going to the local school system, the high school, and so forth, and having so many roots here, and knowing people for years, and as long as I have all of you guys, and all my friends are still in town here, and so like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be around.
Good.
But it's just in a different capacity, and obviously Chief Barker, if there's any assistance I can give him down the road, I'll be more than happy to, and I'm going to be working closely with Matt for the next few months, and I've already started kind of getting him involved in some of the things that I've been doing and established over the years. I currently run the Essex County Detectives Association, and I formulated that about 15 years ago because we didn't have anything up our way. We had to go down to Salem or right now we go out to Wilmington for the Nemlik detectors, but we never had anything up here, and I always thought it was unfortunate. You know, we're a bunch of small towns, and we need to rely on each other. So as they say, the strength of numbers, and so I formed that. And we have our meetings at our police station, you know, and everybody gets a lot out of it, and I enjoy doing them. And but these are things Matt will come in, and I'm hoping he's going to take them over, which I'm sure he probably
You will. And, you know, this day and age, networking is important.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
as we all can attest, you get along in the tooth, and you kind of, these new guys coming up, they're savvy on computers, electronics, everything, and it's way beyond anything I can. So thank God for Matt, because
Yep.
he's been huge. That cybercrime thing that they were talking about, he is, I mean, I know he's helped Love out quite a bit, and it's something that's, like I said, beyond what I can do. And that's when you kind of know you just, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Commendable
Yeah.
going.
But it's, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you guys are great. The town's great. I love the town, you know. And I got a lot of roots here, and going back with Jack, and years and years and years, and, you know, and
Yeah, I know through the years I've had an opportunity to work with you.
yeah, absolutely.
Certainly appreciate everything
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've done
Yeah.
for the community.
Yep, yep. You know, knowing all your families and got connections with all you guys, so it's really hard.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah. I get Debbie throwing rotten tomatoes at me when I walk in Ipswich now.
So you've done a good job over the years. And a lot
I
of people-
appreciate that.
A lot of people don't see what you've done. You've kept the wolves away from the door here.
Well,
in
I
Raleigh.
appreciate that. You know something, the town of Raleigh had never had a detective. And Kevin had the foresight, because it was spread out, you know. If you showed up to a scene, okay, you were the guy in charge of it. And you needed someone to have a contact person, someone that can be assigned to it. And, you know, I showed enough initiative in my younger days, and like Matt has now. And so he appointed me as the town's first inspector in 1991. And so I've, like, you know, it's been 23 years. It's a long time for a detective at any department or anywhere. And so, you know, and of course, Kevin's been tremendous. So, and now he's moved on, and I credit a lot of my career towards Kevin, no question about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be if it wasn't for him.
Just to follow up, Joe, congratulations on your retirement. From most of us have here have retired once or twice and 3 times for some of us.
Yeah.
Follow up on what I said about Matt too. You've been certainly a credit to the department and to the town. And as you go around town and all the investigations you've done and all the different situations you've been involved in, we hear nothing but good comments from your fellow colleagues in law enforcement, as well as citizens and the other town employees. So you certainly got a career to be proud of, and as you enter into your retirement, you're not gone yet. We certainly wish you all the luck in the world. And be careful between now and December 25th.
Oh, yeah.
And we appreciate all you've done, and it's a heartfelt congratulations. on
I
all
appreciate
of
that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Gonna love retirement, Joe.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
You do, Joe.
But that was very nice. Thank
You
you.
gotta have something to do.
Yeah, I get
Make sure you do that.
I get things.
You
I
don't
get
want- you don't want-
things.
you don't wanna sit around.
No.
If he and Kevin are getting together, that's
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that.
No, I
they'll
appreciate
make
it. It's
up
very
for it.
nice. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of
Thank
luck
you.
to you,
Thank
and,
you. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks, Bob.
So all the best.
Okay, thank you. Am I free to go?
you're free.
Joe, good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. You too.
All right, the time being after 8 o'clock, our next appointment is with Bill Gaynor of the Raleigh Veterans Association to discuss Old Nancy Cannon project. Okay, Bill. I met with you last week, and we discussed the proposed project for Old Nancy. And you're going to present some of the ideas to us tonight?
Yes, I will.
First of all, I just pass this out to all you gentlemen. Zach, Bob, and Dave.
Thank you.
The Raleigh Veterans Association decided to take on the project to work with Old Nancy. And what I'd like to do is turn it over to Arthur Page, who has all the details, what all the plans are, and he can explain it.
All right, well, I talked with you, Bob, and there were several parades involved, and I'm very familiar with Old Nancy as far as the conditions of it, and what we've suggested is we would like to, because we'll take pictures of the whole thing, we'd like to take possession of it, put it to a secured location, which only you and Bob Barker will know about, and we want to clean it up, paint it. I understand it's been since 1970 something before the wheels have been redone.
Well, 75 is when we really, it had been stored for quite a while up until that point.
Right.
It didn't come out
But
very often.
down the shop the other day, I mean, I wouldn't want to roll it anywhere.
Yeah, there's a little bit of clay, but not bad.
Yeah. And but I've looked up at the correct way to redo those wheels. And what we'd like to do is then mount it on a trailer, because, like I say, I don't think it should be rolled anywhere. The wheels should probably be turned every couple of months, but we'll mount it on a trailer, and we'll have it, we'll bring it out here and set it on the common for the TV show that's going to come out. And everything will be on display, and then we'll remove it, and then we'll put it back on a trailer for the parade. With all this stuff, we'll put some bunting on around it, the whole thing. And at that time, we'll put it away for the winter, back in its secure location that it is now. But we have found out that there is a gentleman in Essex who works on these old things. And he can actually take as many years as paint on the cannon itself. And thick paint, it's like boat bottom paint. And there's ways of taking that down so we can actually find out where it was made and when it was made over in England, the casting, the foundries. So we'd like to look into having that taken down and then redone so it's nice and black. And what our real goal on this whole thing is, then when we have our parade from the VFW down here in the spring, we'd like to make a cement platform out probably between the gentleman that was interested in the Parks Committee the other day would be a good guy to suddenly get another Parks Committee, between like the statue and the stone, and have a cement pad there with hook eyes so the cannon can't be removed. I can make the barrel so that it can't be removed from the straps just by welding, so that nobody can take a lug nut and 6 guys take the cannon off. We'll plug it, we'll even breech plug it, so that it could be removed and fired eventually if we have time ever comes. And at that time, we'd like to put up a big glass board with a complete history of Old Nancy on it. And the other side, being a 2-sided board, obviously, with a little roof on it, could be like Rowley, softball sign-ups on this day, parade on this day, and do that. And then in the fall, take the cannon out and put it back in its present location. So that, and what we'd also like is the removable apparatus, the water bucket, the powder sleeves for it and everything, be put in the library in a glass case so that everybody could see it and have everything all redone. And really, I think it would be sharp.
Yeah, I don't think I have any issues with the painting and stuff like that. It definitely needs it. Like I said, we did it in 75 because that was the bicentennial in 76.
Right.
Got it ready for that. And at that point, actually, the barrel was red. So you're going to find red paint. Yes, you're going to find red paint when you get down there.
Yeah.
So
This guy works for the museums, and he would know how the correct way to do it without removing. I mean, we're not going to go sandblast it.
Right.
And we're not going to sand it. If he can come down and look at it and say, I can fix that for you, we could remove it, give it to him for the winter, and get it back, and then paint it up.
Yeah. I mean, the state requires, in order to fire a cannon, it should be...
We're not concerned with fire.
No, I understand, but one of the things they'd like you to do is sleeve it.
Yeah.
That's the,
I mean, I can do that. I'm a welder. I can do it. I would promise you, because we've had this conversation a couple of times in the past, I can tack weld over the touch hole, so there's no way then we can fire it. And we will have a plug in it, which we have to, because of rainwater or kids stuffing crap in there. But there is a lockable expansion plug, which can be keyed right at the end of it. They do make those. And none of this would cost the town anything. We've already had a couple businesses offer to pay for anything for that.
yeah.
So,
So my only concern is storing it on the common, putting it on common on display is one is the liability from, because every time we put it on the common, you have to guard it. Because the kids
the way the
wanna-
lights are now and
Yeah, but
everything.
the kids want to climb all over it. And if somebody falls off of there and gets hurt, that might be an issue.
Well, they have them at other commons.
I know, but generally they're sealed cannons. And when you notice them in cemeteries, they're typically filled with concrete and they're stuck in the ground.
Yeah, but we're gonna plug this anyways.
It's going to be plugged. The barrel's going to be plugged. The breech is going to be blocked. And I can make it so that it doesn't tip. I mean, I'm a welder. I can do whatever needs to be done. So that a kid, if he climbed on the other barrel, it's not going to come down and crash.
How's the welding going to work on cast iron?
On cast iron, I would probably have to pin it.
I mean, that's,
You take a mag drill and go in through the side and pin it. No, it can't be removed.
yeah, that's, I don't know, I guess I have some reservations as to a lot of changes to it. What does that?
But we want to do very little changes if
No, I
possible.
understand, but what I was getting to on the sleeving thing is I really had kind of resisted trying to sleeve it.
Yeah.
Only because I'm not sure what that does to its historic or monetary value.
I would think it would change it greatly. I think if it was going to be fired, what you'd probably use is something, a device they call tanninite, which is a binary substance that can go off either by match, fuse, or it can actually go off. You see these exploding targets that you shoot a 22 at it and it explodes, and it's legal to own and all that. And what that is it has very, very little. There's very little power in it. You'd be hard pressed to blow up a mailbox, but you get a big flash and a big bang, and like they use that in movies. So I'm not even talking about having it fired at this point, but I'd like it so that it could be fired 200 years from now. When they're doing the 500 centennial, it's still operable. I mean, you wouldn't want to fill the barrel. It should be a shame.
I'm not going to worry about the 500.
I'm not going to worry. I mean, I don't want to change anything on the functionality of it. Just make it all safe. And I can have you come down. I can show you before I do anything what we can do to keep the barrel from rocking. Carriage, because would be lagged down, bolted down with a padlock. The tunyon would be also have a lock on it, so that part of it won't be able to be moved.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit concerned about vandalism. I mean, we've had, even on the gazebo, we've had vandalism. We've had people carving their initials in the posts down there. And right now, we got some graffiti that they wrote on the cement, spray painted and stuff. So, I mean, it's just,
Well, it just seems a shame to have, actually, it's probably a whole generation now, go by without seeing it.
well,
I mean, except for one day a year. If they happen to not, my grandkids haven't seen it.
I mean, that's our, I mean,
It's on all the police cars, the plaques. It's just like to be hidden away to slowly dry rot.
It's not,
Why don't you sell it? I mean, it's just like that's too bad.
yeah.
For us to put a bulletproof plexiglass thing around it, now you're talking it's going to be a lot of money.
well, yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't expect you to do that. I really wouldn't. I mean, we do a program down at the school with the history, with the third graders, and they always pick Old Nancy as a project. So we get to see pictures of it and stuff like that, see the environment, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to take it, actually, it's committed for next Sunday. It's going to be in the Yankee Homecoming Parade.
We won't be able to do much work on it between now and next Sunday, but I can have it all mounted on the trailer. Won't really give me much time to get the wheels done or but we can clean it up and I can have it mounted on a trailer so it can go.
Okay, I talked to the highway and they were gonna let me use their landscape trailer.
Okay, well, that would be fine. My trailer, I have a wooden, it's a bigger trailer. That landscape trailer is gonna be pretty touchy.
It's dual wheel.
Yeah.
It's dual wheel trailer, so it's 4 wheels on it. It's mounted just right. It's a little bit longer than what we need, but the cannon should fit on it fine.
All right. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've already made arrangements with Pat and so forth, and we've got some signs for it. We want to use it in the Yankee Homecoming Parade as an advertisement for our parade in September.
Yep.
So I've got some signs on it and that kind of thing.
I hope there's not gonna be any false old Nancy's in the parade, is there?
Yeah, talk to Judge now.
Not an operator.
So, I mean, the rest of the project sounds good. It probably needs a coat of paint, there's no question about that. The wheels were rebuilt by the Dan's Wagon Factory
Yep.
in '75.
But even the spokes, I get nervous because it's,
Well, they
when
dry
they
out
sit in a
little
certain, when they sit in a certain spot, you can,
bit. They dry out a
they
little
should
bit,
be,
Yeah, I'm sure they need to be rotated.
it's like a car tire.
Myself, I'm a little reluctant to see it put out permanently on the common or whatever.
Well, if
Because I
it,
think it needs to be protected from the weather and in a lot of ways, when you see it all the time, it's like a traffic sign. When you see it all the time, you end up not seeing it anymore, you know what I mean? You drive by it, what did that sign say? I don't know. And I'm kinda wondering if, rather than display it all the time, if we make an effort to bring it out a little more often, because it's been, I don't remember the last time I saw it. I remember
been a-
seeing it fired on the common
It's been a
for
couple of years since. we
Memorial
did that.
Day, maybe, you know, if we get it
4
cleaned
years.
up.
Well, the plan
4
was
years
for
ago.
Memorial Day to Veterans Day. It wouldn't be in the winter at all, or late fall, or early spring. And we would to put it on the common and take it off the common. So it would be out there 4 months, 5 months tops.
Be a lot of repair to it being out in the weather.
well, if the chassis needs to be redone, you'll take the responsibility of doing it. I mean, Charlie Hardy and, who was it, they built the previous cannon here before Charlie. They built the chassis, and actually, you can see it's just conventional lumber.
Actually, the carriage that it's on now was built in '38.
38?
For the 1939 celebration. Followed just down the street here, was a carpenter.
Yeah.
They're always doing the gun carriages at the Constitution over, the ones
Right.
that are out
Right.
in the elements all the time.
Right.
Would you say the wheels are actually from the wagon?
Right, from
Daniel's
Daniel's.
Wagon Wheel Factory?
Yeah,
They gotta be some of the last wheels that were made up there, I think, pretty much.
I would say so, because
Might have been a few after, but
I helped remove all the equipment out of there. I mean, there's nothing really in there anymore.
yeah, no, I don't know. They've done a nice job fixing the factory up. I'm not,
yeah.
I
No,
don't know
Bruce,
what's-
actually Bruce Tompkins rebuilt them probably
Yeah.
in '75. Retied, took ties off, put all new spokes in, put in new segments, the segments that were bad, and then put the tires back on.
Is the carriage all oak?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's all yeah. And Lawrence Bishop carved the ramrod.
Lobby.
Yeah, lobby. Made the ramrod. There is a worm. It's not with it, but there is a worm. And the bucket I put together in '76. Just have something on it.
It just seems a shame that it's part of our history and it's not, it's not shown. A lot of kids don't know anything about it. They hear about it, they see it on the police car and all that, and they ask what this was, and we just thought maybe we could,
Bring it out a little more.
yeah, expose it,
Expose it.
We're gonna videotape and still photo the entire project, of how we packed the wheels, how we, how we painted it, how we've done this and that, and then we can probably put it in the library or something like that, a video and still project.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
As far as the parade on Sunday, we won't be getting involved in that.
We won't.
Do we
Yeah,
have-
no,
do we have
then,
enough- do we have
I'd
enough
say
time
just-
from
For the 22nd.
I'm in a 4-day tuna tournament, so I'm gonna be gone. So
Yeah, there's no, maybe it should be fine.
yeah, I mean, I'll make sure Pat's got straps to pick it up. I was down here today, and he was asking me what the best way to pick it up. I said, well, you gotta have straps. I've got straps because I don't want metal against metal or even rope. I mean, you gotta have straps. I can make sure he has that. And tell him he's got to chalk the wheels, actually put 2x4s down and screw them in. So you can't have much movement because I mean, when I can stand there and shake the wheels, it's like that kind of action is going to hurt. That's why I would like to have done that first.
Well, I've got a rig that I use that keeps the wheels from moving, with side to side or off front.
Well, you can go and put that on there then. Yeah.
Now, we ran it in the 89 parade.
Yep.
It was on a car trailer. Worked fine. So,
Maybe could I suggest that we allow these gentlemen to refurbish the cannon that meets with your approval, Bob? And
Yeah.
I would like to defer at this time a display policy. I think we need some more time to think about it, to see how it comes out, get some more input. Because at this point, if you're going to get it for this parade and our parade, by then winter's coming on anyway.
Right.
You're not going to have it ready.
It wouldn't be, no.
So maybe in the spring
Couldn't
we'll
do it
take a look
before.
at. I'm perfectly honest with you. I'm a little reluctant to leave it displayed outside. I mean, it's just, and I look at in comparison, if you go over to Erie 4 in Georgetown, they actually made a building for the old hand tub over there. With a big glass front, and the hand tub's displayed. It's out of the weather. They can take it out when they want it, etc. But at least it's protected from the weather, and it's protected from.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dave.
Blasphemy. I don't know if that's the right answer, but
No, the thing is, they thought they had old Nancy too.
we'll just leave that alone. That's history, probably better unsaid. But no, I'm just looking at, in other words, I'm less concerned about someone wheeling off with it as I am. Rolly and I were good friends, for instance. And I went up to the wagon wheel factory way back when they were making some wagon wheels for somebody. I don't know who, back in the 70s. So whether it was these or somebody else. And I know what the weather does to wood, and I'm just a little reluctant. But I mean, that's something maybe we can overcome. But I would say, I'd have no problem with moving forward on refurbishing it. And I think we really need to make an effort to get it out more often, if we can, to have people see and be part of. I miss not being fired. I mean, that was a big thing when we used to fire it. We can't do that anymore, obviously. Regulations, but if we can make an effort to get it out a little bit more often, and like I say, sometimes they sit out there for day in and day out, and we kind of take them for granted, whereas it comes out for special occasions. But that's something.
Maybe think about a long-term display for the cannon too, a place to store it where it can be seen.
I mean, I hate to put the Constitution. They hid the Constitution in some garage someplace. That would be a shame.
Yeah, no.
Granted, the Constitution needs to be repaired every now and then, but we're talking about we'll be in charge of taking care of it and raising money and all this other stuff.
Everything original in the Constitution is the keel.
The only thing original in that cannon is the barrel.
The barrel.
And the cannon on the Constitution.
Larry?
Several comments. One is that you might want to consider having RCM document the refurbishing of it. I think that would be a very good documentary to have. Second, if you start to, permanently weld up the holes and everything else, you basically destroy the value of the item versus the restoration of it. And third, as far as displaying, I don't know about how heavy it is, whether the library could take a load like that, have it on display, but maybe the library or a car dealership or even a bank might be interested in having it displayed in their lobby or something like that for like a week or
It's the
something
getting
like
it in
that.
and getting it out.
It's too big to.
Too big to get.
It's a little bit.
Well, I don't know how big it is. I mean,
Yeah,
like
it's
a
good
car
size.
dealership.
There's nothing around.
When I was talking about making it so that nobody would be able to fire it, I'm talking about putting a tack weld over the touch hole, which then you could drill out, and it's still gonna be operational. You know, versus
Right.
filling the barrel with lead, which is a common practice, and then the thing is useless.
Right. But we'll say if it were on display somewhere for like a week, it could be roped off and you wouldn't have to go to all that trouble to child-proof it, so to speak.
Was it made in England?
Don't really know. was
Not
some-
in that pamphlet, I guess.
Yeah, it says in the pamphlet it was
Well,
brought over
this-
from England, so.
Well, it came off the British bridge,
See,
Nancy.
that's would be the nice thing, if we had, if we could strip that down by that professional museum guy, he could probably say, yeah, this crest is such and such a factory, such and such a year, you know.
Well, don't give us any bad news, just in case it town has the real one.
We don't have to print the bad.
On the
Yeah, that's
cannon,
it.
on the Constitution, the cannon they have the King's Royal Seal
Yeah.
on the
Right.
cannon.
Right.
So it, this
Right.
doesn't have that, though.
Well, you can't, the way the paint is, you can't really
Yeah,
say.
you really
Well, you can't tell. It's
Yeah.
supposedly if it's there, it's on the bottom.
It actually, according to this, sat in the
True.
water for quite a while as they were hiding it, and which probably back then did some damage to it, anyways. But those museum people can,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, we
read through.
We could find out, actually, it could be a captured French cannon.
It could be anybody's cannon.
Yeah.
Because you gotta remember now, we're talking 1775.
Right.
76, the Revolution.
Right.
And they were trying to arm ships. And they would take a cannon wherever they could get
Right,
it from.
because that was the price.
It doesn't matter, it could be English, it could be French, it could be Italian, it could be anything.
Right.
If they had a cannon and they wanted to put it on the ship, they put it on the ship.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would say, Mr. Chairman, I mean, my feeling is personally, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, is if we allow the refurbishment, which you seem to agree with, let's hold off on how we intend, once it's all completed, how we intend to display it. At least we get started, and we'd love to know the history of it and get it into shape, and maybe in the meantime, we can seriously think about how to display it in such a way that it's a credit to the town.
Yeah, we'll have all
And let the public see it, you know what I
It
mean?
should be
Without-
displayed.
that.
Because this is the first I've heard of it, is today is the first time that I realized that, you guys were coming in and talking about this. And not that I'm the person that's gonna make the decision one way or the other, but I think if we move forward on refurbishing it and the work you guys apparently wanna do and seem to know what you're doing, and then we make a decision in the spring about how we might wanna display it, even if it's not
Before
all
we do this-
summer, but for, a short periods of time or something like that, during appropriate periods, it might be worth.
That would be doable because we could have a place where it could be mounted for
And have
a
a
week or
kind of
so.
a secure location so that we can,
Yeah.
a pad or something that
Right.
you'd want to put it on.
Well, you
I
have to put it
assume.
on a pad,
Yeah,
and because everything has to be locked down.
right.
I don't think it would be feasible to do anything until after the Newburyport parade.
Yeah, right.
Right, as far as us working on it.
Do you
right.
think we could squeeze in between the Newburyport parade and the zip trip in Raleigh to make it presentable?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
22 days?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Probably 22 days.
Well, at this point, we just want to look at cleaning it up so it looks presentable. I mean, it can be in its original state, it is what it is.
And then we can remove
then
it
you-
again and get it ready for the parade.
You could have the winter to do what you need to do
Yeah.
to make it for a
What
more
I'd like to
permanent
do is I'd like to
display.
contact that museum guy and have
Yeah.
him down look and say, yeah, go ahead and take it off and bring it here, or I'll do it there and whatever. Because that would be ideal.
Now, do we need, if it's gonna, where would you guys be
We'll
working
do
on
the,
it? In
we'll do the
town here?
finances. We'll do the finances.
No, but I mean, where would you be doing it? In town here? I'm just.
In
wondering-
town.
In town.
Okay.
Be in town, yeah.
So it's not being
And it's
transported.
secure.
Right, with the television.
It's in
I
your
just don't want-
it'll be
Right,
in
it'll
your
be-
possession.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
in a secure
A
location.
secure location.
There's cameras,
Okay,
and
yeah.
video cameras going
Yeah, there's
24/7.
alarm systems, the whole bit.
All right, no, I mean, I don't know.
Susan, you had a
So
question?
my question had to do with the timing. The parade is Sunday. We're already committed to running
Yeah,
the
we couldn't do much
cannon
before then.
and parade, and God knows you wouldn't want to.
Right.
Bob has the whole float built at this point. And so then there's a zip trip, which is the 22nd, 3rd to the 22nd. It's really only 19 days, not 22. So you're very short time frame. And then 2 weeks to the parade, shorter still. As far as I am concerned, as parade chair, Old Nancy is the centerpiece of the parade.
Yeah.
We can run the parade without Old Nancy. I'm not saying it would.
Oh, no, no,
But
we would have
we
it
don't
done
want
no
to.
matter what,
It's
yeah,
the centerpiece of us here in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking your time frames are really short. Sometimes you start a job and you think, yeah, we can get that done in X number of days, but whatever happens. And we don't want to get it, we can make it worse.
No,
No, we won't make it worse.
And the other thing is, where does the ownership stand? I assume the town of Raleigh owns it,
Yes.
and Bob is the cannoneer and has been for many years, so he doesn't really own it, he's just, is its
Caretaker.
father, yeah.
Custodian.
What?
Custodian.
Custodian of it, yes. And so then would the ownership change to the Veterans
No.
Association? I
Veterans
mean,
Association is just volunteering to
refurbish it and then
maintain it, right.
hand it back to the town.
Hand it back to the town, no change in ownership.
Wanted to ask. I would hate to see changes made in term.
Yeah.
But, I'm always the one that hates changes, so you just have to know that's me. But, refurbishing it, I agree, there's probably an inch of paint on it.
No, it sounds like a worthwhile project, and just a matter of deciding, in the spring, let's say, how and when we want to display it. If nobody else has any objections to it.
At least if we get it,
Sounds like you gentlemen have
get
a
it
plan.
cleaned up and get it, get the wheels so you don't mind, you're not gonna be nervous every time you move it 3 feet.
Right.
And then just have it available for parades, functions or anything.
Right.
And I would think it would be better than,
No, it definitely needs to be out more. I think we would probably all agree with that. It's just,
and maybe the library would want it in there.
it's hard to get it in and out.
I think it would be really tight in there, that tight as it is,
Yeah.
with room, so.
How about that corner?
But get rid of Jack?
Well, it'd be nice to maybe put it like in the library or somewhere for a week or so, and feature it in the paper and all that, and it's gonna be, shown for a week, whatever, and then remove it so it's not a thing that's 4 or 5 months thing, but, or 3 or 4 days. I'm not sure what the
Or the
dimensions of
Institution for
doors are.
Savings, or somebody like that might wanna.
Yeah, I'm just not
The
sure
whole-
who has the facilities to be
key
able to
is
get
to
it in and
find
out
an
of the
area
doors.
big enough. Right, find an area big enough where we can roll it in.
If you
Yeah.
put the Tunyon on one of those 4-wheel dolly platforms they use for moving stuff, and if the wheels are lubed and stuff, and you can roll it that way, so you can move it around. But it does take up a lot more room than you think.
Oh, yeah, no, if I remember right, it's pretty good.
It's
Good
be
size.
it would be
Probably
size
that
of
whole
it.
table.
Actually, that's called a limber,
Oh, the Tunyon, yeah,
the tongue thing,
Tunyon. That's calling it.
a limber.
Okay,
That's how they use them to drag them with the horses.
yeah.
Was the Nancy, the schooner, was it one of the ships that was in Boston Harbor?
Well, the brig Nancy came from England,
Mhm.
and it was the schooner Lee, Captain Manley out of Marblehead.
Mhm.
He was, when they first started to privateer, if you will. And the British were sending a bunch of supply ships into Boston, and they ran into fog off the coast of Gloucester. And the Nancy got lost in the fog. So the Lee was out there, and they spotted her. So they went up to her, and the captain of the Nancy thought it was a ship coming out of Boston to escort him in.
Mhm.
So he didn't put up any fight. So he took the ship, snuck it into Gloucester, took it up into the harbor there, and snuck it up into one of the boat yards that was behind an island. And he took everything off of it, stripped it. And on it was a mortar. And it was the largest mortar that Washington had in the Revolution.
Really?
And it really saved Boston, because they used it while in Boston.
You don't know what they paid for the cannon, do you?
I don't think they paid anything. They took all of the supplies.
No, but I mean,
Musket
the
Rock.
town paid for it. Didn't they? Oh, they just given to them.
Actually, there's two different stories. You're talking about the Boynton that went down, saw it on the dock and bought it. The other story is, and the one that is more plausible, is that part of the militia group here, when they took the supplies off the ship, they sent militia down to guard them during the day. And there was a group from Raleigh that was going down there every day to guard the thing, and they finally said, well, what the heck are we doing this? All of the other stuff had disappeared. They spread it out, and that just was the last gun. So I said, well, what the heck are we coming down here every day for? We just take it home and guard it. And that's what they did. They brought it here to guard. And he finally passed away. He had two sons, and one lived in Raleigh and the other one lived in what's now Georgetown. And there was nothing in his will or anything to take care of it. So they started fighting over it, the two sons. And that's how the Raleigh-Georgetown feud got going.
How did it get from Boston to Raleigh? Was it on a
He was in
ship?
Gloucester.
Gloucester to Raleigh.
Gloucester. They probably took a wagon down, rode it on a wagon. Yeah. Just threw it up on
So
here.
much for Love's Landing.
Well, brought it back up here. And that's the way the story goes. But you gotta know that the one in Georgetown was bought in a yard sale in Top Shore.
Yeah.
That's what it says in here.
So, I mean, it's just, and I've seen personally myself.
See, they have theirs on display.
Yeah, and they put a nice display together.
They can afford to, theirs isn't real.
Yeah. So, they didn't run it in their parade. They had their 150th anniversary parade, and they never took it out of the town hall.
Yeah.
The only cannon they had in the parade was a piece of cast iron sewer pipe that the Boy Scouts was rolling cherry bombs down. That was their parade. And Raleigh, Old Nancy, was at the front of the parade by some maneuvering done by the then cannoneer.
The then cannoneer?
Yeah.
Anyone we know?
Yes. It's kind of an interesting story, it really is. I was invited, the cannon was invited to the Georgetown parade, and I said, no, we're not going to do that. So at the very last minute, we got a truck, put it on a trailer, took the Daughters of Liberty from the Raleigh Bicentennial, and ran it over there. And, got into the line where there were parade marshals were there setting up the parade. I wasn't on the list.
Was that the last time Georgetown saw Old Nancy?
Yeah. That was, we weren't on the list. So the guy, I said, well, we're here for finale. He said, well, you're not on the list. I said, okay. So he said, well, let me check with the parade marshal. And he disappeared. So I pulled off this side of the room. I'm sitting there. I'm looking in my mirror, and I knew the parade marshal. I knew who he was. He pulled up in his pickup truck. He got out and talked to the guy, got back in his truck and drove off. I said, well, this isn't going to work. So I started driving down the street again. Got to the next guy. He says, who are you with? And I said, I'm with the Raleigh Board of Selectmen. Oh, well, get out here, take this right, take that left, and right there. We wound up right in the very front of the parade. So we're going down the street. We went around, came down through Georgetown Square, down by the Prairie School, and back out again. The grandstand was right there, across from the parking lot. So I had the Daughters of Liberty behind me. They were marching behind me. So I said to them, when we get to this intersection, you guys stop. Don't move. So we stopped the whole parade. So I drove out onto the street, pulled down a little bit, and then backed the cannon around, so I was facing the grandstand. Jumped out of the truck, stuck a fuse in the cannon, and lit the fuse, and then ducked under the truck. Half the people on the grandstand went under their chairs, literally. And we wound up with a front page picture in the Haverhill Gazette from that little maneuver.
You do that.
But we're not gonna be as bad as you.
Is the statute of limitations run its course?
Yeah.
I hope so.
If you disappear, we'll know what
You
happened.
got a police chief.
Mr. Chairman, I hope you tell this story to Fox 25 when they
I
come.
already have. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It really was. Because then they had the old Nancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of tweaked us into coming over there. Well, they had some small thing that was on a little carriage and it didn't mean anything. And they were giving us a hard time. And it was right around that 75, 76 year time. It was just after that. So we had the militia and the ladies and all that stuff. So somebody from Georgetown came up and wanted to, and said it was a fake cannon. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. If you think it's a fake cannon, why don't you stand in front of it when I light the fuse? And luckily he didn't. Because I lit the fuse and she let go. So they knew that we had the cannon.
Sounds good.
So we want to take a vote on Dave's
Yeah, I'll make a
suggestion?
motion that we allow them to refurbish it and put it in their temporary custody and have it available for the parades as required and it functions. And then in the spring, we'll revisit the situation as to how to display it. But that sounds all right.
I'll second it.
Any other comments, Bob? Or? No. Okay.
As the keeper of strategic weapons of Raleigh, I defer to you.
Yeah, you're okay with that, Bob.
You kind of inherited it, but I actually inherited it from Lawrence Bishop. Lawrence,
Lobby, really?
Yeah, Lobby told me showed me how to do it, how we made the charges and the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was interesting because we were down behind the light department when he decided to retire, and Teddy Furberg was there. And Teddy had his Jeep. Remember the Jeep?
Yeah.
Military Jeep he restored. He had it about a month and crashed it. And he was there with his Jeep. And Lottie shot off a shot. And then Ted got on his case. And he wanted to put a pound of powder in it. So I'm just the new guy. I don't know what they're talking about. So he did. Lottie put a pound of powder in it. And then, of course, once he did that, Teddy crawled under the Jeep. He really did, literally. Crawled under the
I
Jeep.
bet he did.
Yep. So I kind of hid behind her because I didn't know what was going to go on. But when that thing oh my God, she jumped up in the air. The woman from Weathersfield Street called up and said her furnace just exploded. Another woman called and said the dishes fell off a wall. So, these days you can't do that.
No, you can't.
State law mandates what you can load it with.
Yeah.
At that point, it wasn't licensed. They started doing this license thing in 1975. And I had to go to Boston, to the fire marshal's office in bomb squad, and actually take a written test. And then an interview with the agent in order to get a license. So. Okay, we do have a motion on the table.
Second, Jack.
Getting a second from Jack. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, good luck, and take good care of it.
All right, thanks a lot.
Try your best.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you.
I'll get in touch with Chad, and then after the Yankee homecoming is when we'll get involved with it.
Yeah, give me a call.
Yeah, I will, yeah, I will.
Sounds
Just
good.
one thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Keep Susan happy.
See you, Bob.
Keep Susan happy for our parade. That's all we're asking.
Yes, don't worry.
She'll come after us because you guys won't be around.
Susan, don't worry about it. We're not gonna hide this.
I live to worry.
Okay, so we got through all of the appointments. Which is a good thing.
We got anything else for the chiefs? I don't see them
You know
both.
what,
I think we're gonna be talking about the parade.
375th.
375th parade.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I believe that the chiefs and Mrs. Hazen is here for old business number 1, if we could take that.
Yeah, we certainly can.
Good idea.
And actually, while we're talking about it, I'd love to hear about old business number 2. Suddenly screams at me September 6th.
Old business number 1. Okay. Discuss 375 parade, road race, and other events. The Board of Selectmen needs to review and authorize the following events as part of the 375th anniversary celebrations. Number 1, use of Town Common for Kids Fun Run, Thursday, September 4th, 2014. Request from the Raleigh Police Association to use the Town Common on September 4th, 2014, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. for a Kids Fun Run and other activities as part of the 375th celebration. Races start at 6:15 p.m. And item number 2 is parade Saturday, September 6th. Discuss parade route closures, no parking areas, estimated time frame parade, application of Mass DOT to close road for parade. Authorize Dave Sedgwick to file application with MassDOT on behalf of the town, and email from Triton Youth Soccer regarding access to Veterans Field for soccer games on September 6th. Please review comments from the following departments: Police Chief, Fire Chief, Health Services Coordinator, Highway Surveyor. Authorize Vice Chairman Joe Perry to use Town Hall second floor for 375 concert events in case of inclement weather. So that's basically old business number 1. Okay, is there any?
So I don't have that list, you do, so I'll just use my handy dandy little memory.
Okay,
Starting on September 4th, that's the actual anniversary of their incorporation.
yes, that's the
So
opening.
we're having our opening ceremonies, I believe at 6 o'clock, September 4th.
Is that going to be at the town hall?
And
or
I
at
believe it's
the
going to be on the front steps of the
front
town hall.
Okay.
Do we need, look at this. And, well, I know what this is, I just couldn't remember his list. And 6 o'clock, I believe on the front steps of Town Hall, unless we suddenly discover there's 2,000 people to watch it, in which case we may have to move to the Common, but that's where it's planned. Mostly because we watched a video of previous ceremonies and it was on Town Hall. We're trying to recapture the past as much as we can.
That's because I didn't have a gazebo.
Yeah. We don't either, we have a bandstand. But, and so then the road race. The road race was originally conceived as a sanctioned qualifying road race, and then a number of problems ensued and they weren't able to do that, so we've now got a kids fun run. Or I guess a fun run could include adults. I haven't heard the details of the fun run, but it won't be a sanctioned run. So the sanctioned run means that you have to hire a timekeeper, and everyone has to have chips in their sneakers, and it measures their time down to hundredths of a second, and it's going to be fun. A race. It's again a vehicle to get everyone down to the Common, having fun, starting the weekend off. Friday, I think we're leaving Friday kind of free, as everyone has to go home and make their float day. The only thing we have planned is a concert on the Common at night, but we haven't filled in a whole lot of things during the day. I assume Joe Perry has already applied for all the concert nights.
I believe so, yes.
So
yeah.
we can ask for that Common that night, but I think he's already filled in all the concert nights. Saturday is a parade day. And we call it a Pied Piper Parade. Has everyone read my PR? Thank you to the electric department who put a whole 2-page flyer, or 2 sides of 1-page flyer. A Pied Piper Parade. We want everyone to follow the parade back to the Common. The parade is going to start at the intersection of Railroad Ave, Main Street, Jellison. And the reason we started there is because there are 3 streets: Railroad Ave, the end of 1A to Cross Street, and Jellison all the way to Cross Street, where we can stage. We're going to leave Cross Street open so that cars coming down from Newburyport can still get across town without being backed up behind the parade. I did go to Police Chief Backer months ago with this plan, and he looked it all over with Steve May, and they agree that it can be done. We go right down Main Street to the Common. We don't want anyone to veer off until after they go off to the bandstand, and then you'll have the end staging area beyond the Common and to 133. Granted, there's not a lot of space there, but it's all the space we have. Someone complained that they didn't think the parade was long enough. They thought the bands would be mad at us because the parade wasn't long enough. But every band that we've contacted, we told them how long it was. No one's complaining. They're getting paid the same money. But sarcastically, I say that. But really, when you look at Rowley, there's not a lot of blocks. Unlike Newburyport, that can go up High Street, and then it feeds off in both directions. When you go down Main Street, everything to the east just takes you to the ocean. Takes you nowhere. And we're saving the roads to the west so that traffic can continue to go by. So it's kind of a well thought out plan. And if we did anything else, go down Pleasant Street and come up Central? I mean, we're just playing with it to add another quarter mile to it. I mean, it doesn't really serve any purpose. I would rather see a parade route 1.5 miles long and people lined up on each side of the parade route than go through a mile of fields. In 1989, they went down Jellison and up Cross Street. A whole lot of empty. And that was just to make the big circle. They wanted to start and end at Todd's Farm. And we just decided not to do that.
Well, I think it sounds good.
Yeah, good idea.
And as I say, the police chief and Sergeant May did look it over. We want everyone to follow us back to the Common. We're going to get food trucks on the Common. We talked to the Board of Health about that. And we have a band reunion playing on the bandstand. And the library is going to do something for the children. So we are looking to get snow fencing at the point of the Common, at the point where the Revolutionary War Monument is, the point that's closest to us. And kind of block that in with snow fencing. And they're going to have things like face painting. I don't know what specific. Over the course of 1.5 years, the committee has had all kinds of. Someone said we should get frisbees. The Common's not big enough. We should have 3-legged races. The Common's not big enough. You cannot invite all these people to the Common and then ask kids to run around too. So we have provided something for the kids. We also think there's going to be cutouts of Ezekiel Rogers and one of his wives, I guess. So the cutouts, you put your face in and then they can take a picture of the cutout. So we have those coming. And at 2 o'clock, we're going to do the big picture. Now, everyone remembers the big picture from 1939, 1989, 2000. That will be, I don't know if the man has come again. We met with him one bitterly cold day in the wintertime when he walked the Common. We all said, yeah, anything, good. But I don't think he's been here yet this summer. It's been hard to coordinate his schedule and the electric lake truck schedule. But it will be generally down the end of the Common where the bandstand is. Frank Todd tells us there were 600 people in the picture in 1989, and we'd like 600 people in this one. The difference is, in 1989 and 39 and 2000, we had a panoramic camera, so it's a big camera that does this very slowly. And as you recall, at 89 and 2000, there's some person that's at both ends. This will not be the panoramic camera. We had booked that, and I don't know, the camera gods did not sign up favorably upon us, and they're going to West Point. I suspect West Point was a better gig than us, and suddenly they weren't available. But we're going to, what I call a bucket truck camera, the way they take pictures at Fenway Park. So that's why we need to coordinate with the electric light company. And so, maybe it'll just reflect sign of the times. So we do need to get permission to use the Common for the day of September 6th. And September 5th, the churches themselves are doing closing ceremonies, and we're still trying to get inspiration. We have a band coming, the Senior Tones, which is coming, I believe, between 2 and 4. We're doing closing ceremonies at 1 o'clock, and we're having what we call the communal meal. The Board of Health frowned upon us having a covered dish supper. That was too much liability. So communal meal is you all bring your own meal, and I don't care if you have a lobster bake or subs or chandeliers and wine and roast duck. Anyone wants to come with their own blanket, their own chairs, their own friends, and set up picnics. It's really picnics on the Common. and listen to the closing ceremonies and the band that's on the Common, the Senior Tones, and that'll be our closing ceremonies. Have I missed anything? Mr. Mary is also on the
That's
committee.
pretty much got it, except it's not the 5th, it's the 7th.
Did I say the 5th? Going backwards. Yeah, the closing ceremonies is on the 7th. So the big weekend is the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's why I ask what item number 2 is, which is a bike race on September 6th. And I have this vision of them all running into each other.
What is the story with the bike race?
Well, we've been
Tour de
trying
Cure.
to explain to them that there's events, but the selectmen have not voted on a road closures relating to the parade route. We explained that if the roads are not closed, bikes can just go down the side of the road as they
Right.
normally do. We told them they couldn't use the town common this year for a rest stop. But we did try to explain to them that we understand there will be road closures, but until the selectmen actually vote that, they will not be able to have the bikes come down the road. So we need to give them some timeframes.
When are they looking?
Well, they have it
September.
every year, and it's an annual. So there will be bikes that can come through Rowley.
And they
but
can
if
go
the
up
road
Cross
is
Street.
closed, if the road is closed and the police there, then the bikes, just like the cars, can't come down.
Right. The parade is supposed to step off at 11 o'clock, which means the fire trucks, the antique cars, motorcycles, my antique tractors. But they go faster than the rest of the parade, so they're going to step off at 11 o'clock.
Why do they stay running?
And then the rest of the parade will
Had that issue before.
fall in behind them. Chief Barker was talking about closing the roads down at 10.
10, I was thinking 10:30.
I think 10:30 is good too, because we want people to be able to get in to see the parade.
Correct.
We don't want to close the roads down so early that you can't get anywhere near the parade. I'm telling people, my vans and units, that they have to be in place by 10. So they have to, line up on Railroad, Jellison, and Route 1A at 10. And we say that because someone's always late.
We say 10, we close at 10:30 and everything probably works out.
What time does the bike race want to?
It's an all-day event, and I'm not sure what time they usually come through Raleigh, but it's usually noonish, I think.
So they'd be running down the parade.
Well,
Well,
we
we can't
will
permit that.
explain
We
to
just
them,
can't.
if the selectmen close off whatever sections are, they vote that, then
Right.
the idea would be that the selectmen will send them a letter and explain the roads are gonna be closed in this area, and we're sorry, once again, we already told them you can't use the town common as the rest stop that they always have.
Yeah.
So they would have to
stop and rest, and they used to put
divert the route
porta potties
somehow.
there too.
Yeah.
Right.
And
On
we
non-closed
have
roads.
contracted to put porta potties on the common, and we're trying to get porta potties at the other end of the parade. That's a little unclear as to where we're going to put them exactly, but have thought that through. Talked to the highway department about signs. They're going to get those flashing signs that say parade September 6th, expect delays. And I think he's going to borrow one from Salisbury and one from Georgetown. What else have we done? And Bob is going to order no parking signs.
I have no parking signs
Yeah.
temporary. In my memo, I request permission to post those on the roads that appear in your packet, just so that we can prevent congestion. It'll leave one side of the road unparked on, so that we can get vehicles in and out while we stage on the other side.
Yeah,
As Chief Barker pointed out, even if you close roads, doesn't mean you can clog them solid.
Right.
Vehicles still have to be able to get up and down the roads.
We definitely need to leave some openings for emergency vehicles.
Exactly. Chief Barker has been a tremendous help because he has a parade career, and he was in a band for years, and so
I've
he
marched
sees
in a
it
few
from
parades.
two perspectives, from the perspective of the police chief and as a participant in the parades. And he's been to a lot of parades. He brings a lot of knowledge to the table. Anything else we've forgotten? Water. We have to make sure there's water along the route.
The roof, yeah. Although it's,
That was no problem closing 1A or it's a state road.
I believe,
Dave Sedgwick said he was going to help us with the paperwork
right,
for that.
you're applying for a permit from the state to close that road, which I strongly recommend. I don't think we can hold a parade without closing the road. And since we're on the subject, I strongly advise against allowing the bike race to roll through the parade route, I think it's just a recipe for disaster. I'm sure you'll agree with me.
Yes.
Do you have anything you'd like to add, Jim?
Well, this is more questions than anything, because I don't know a whole lot about what was going on with the planning. Some of it you've already addressed with the signs on the side roads and staging area. First thing is, at the end of the parade where you're staging stuff, one of the roads that we're talking about is Heritage Way. That's still a construction site down on the
Chief
end
Barker
there.
pointed out.
And I don't know if you'd be able to get around in there, and it's a private way.
It is a problem that there's more space at the beginning of the parade than at the end of the parade. As we come up Main Street, the antique cars are going to take a right down Independence Street, and we're going to ask, we have not yet asked, Pat Snow if we could use the highway garage parking lot. And they're going to take one of the detail offices that we've paid for and ask him if he'd stand at the highway department parking lot to protect said antique cars. The floats, I can picture the floats coming up and taking a right on Independence Street, but I'm hoping we'll have more floats than would fit on Independence Street. Again, we can't close that down, but people put a lot of time and effort into floats. And we are currently looking for floats. We have 6 bands, but we're looking for floats. I think I have 6 floats too, but really you should have more. So we are, putting the offer out to people. We're looking for organizations and businesses in Rowley. We want this to be all about Rowley. But that being said, we are still concerned about where everyone's going to go after. We're hoping people will follow the parade, like walk following the parade, not get into their cars and drive to the common. But it still is the problem of the vans. I said to Chief Barker, we could put the buses up there, and he pointed out again where his expertise came in. A lot of them don't hire buses. They come in their own personal cars.
Right. They're going to disperse at the end, but from my experiences, the band is already going to have figured out in their head how they're going to make this work, because it's not very typical for the parade officials to have provided transportation or anything like that in a parade like this. So they're going to have it figured out. Usually what we used to do is park a few cars on one end and a few cars on the other, and when we were done, we'd all just shuffle back and leave. And the bands will disperse fairly quickly, because once the job is done, it's time to go home.
Yeah. I also heard through the grapevine that the fire trucks, who I had pictured when I wrote my plan, the fire trucks would run through the parade, running their sirens and whatever they do, and go home. And people have suggested to me, no, the fire trucks will want to stay and play. Where are we going to put the fire trucks?
I discussed that with the fire chief.
We've had a discussion at the station over how to do this, and what normally has happened in some places is that they have a place for the fire trucks to go to, and they have hot dogs like at Yankee Homecoming. They end up back at the Newburyport Fire Station. This is no way that this is going to happen. So what we've decided to do was, because there's no place for, because I don't know how many are going to show up, number one. You could have 6, you could have 50. It's a real crapshoot. But what we decided to do, we've already asked for permission from Didex, is we're going to have the staging area for the fire trucks in there off of Main Street, and we'll have some coffee and stuff for them. And then when the parade's over, they go home, because there's really no place to park them. I spent a lot of time on it the other night, and it's just there's no way that we have any place to put them. And a lot of them will probably have to go back to their towns anyway. The private trucks, I don't know what they'll do, but there isn't a lot of places to park a bunch of fire trucks. And even for me, to getting our trucks back to the station could be problematic.
And we wanted to ask too, and I'm not telling you, Joe, because I know you know this already, but I would think you'd park the working truck on the other side of the parade route.
I'm going to hire 3 guys, a staff engine 3, somewhere around Route 1 for the duration of the parade, and up until the end when the traffic kind of thins out a little bit. And that's one of the things I want to know is, when do we think traffic will be somewhat back to normal, so I don't have a problem getting firefighters to the station as well as getting the truck out of the station in the event that there's a fire.
I'm making an estimate of 12:30. It's almost impossible to tell because there's a lot of variables still. How many floats and how many bands, how long it takes to walk and stuff like that. But it's a short parade route, and I really think by 12:30 we should be
Mostly.
done, and hopefully that allows another half an hour for the extra floats and stuff to dissipate. And
Yeah, because the floats that come from elsewhere will go back to elsewhere. I mean, when you're finished with the Newburyport Parade, you're going to come back to Rowley.
right.
The floats that are Rowley people, we are inviting them to stop on Independence Street. And just now I'm thinking, can they park along the common on Route 1A, which is technically no parking, but...
Well, I'm assuming you're within your permits. You're going to be asking. We're asked to close down Independence Street, so that would allow the ability to park floats on there. But it depends on how many floats.
Yeah.
And as the fire chief can attest, it's not always easy to make that corner onto Independence Street from Main Street. So that's another
Yeah.
consideration.
But I'm saying for a course of 2 hours, would you allow floats on the common, the 1A side, across from Richdale?
Our goal would be to clear that road.
Yeah.
I need 8 additional officers, and I have them scheduled for 4 hours. If we go beyond 4 hours, we run into some contractual problems where, depending on whether it's a detail or town money, it may go to 8 hours minimum, and I don't want to really do that. So,
Yep.
I would prefer to clear off Route 1A as quick as we can.
How long are you actually gonna close 1A? 10:30
We're going to close it at 10:30, and
12:30.
we're going to try to have it open by 12:30 to 1 o'clock. 12:30 is my.
So you don't really want much packed on 1A after 12:30.
Right.
That's
because
right. That's right.
Someone's gonna have an accident. Not a lot of space there.
Right.
And the last thing I have to ask, because I don't know, that's why I'm gonna ask the question, is they did talk about food on the common. When we say food, what are we talking about? Is it cooked food? How's it gonna be cooked? Is it grill's gonna be there? Is it gonna be, because propane tanks and
I
all
will say
that?
too, I've been trying to get Joe Perry to have a meeting about the department heads, which I thought we'd do last week, and he didn't call it. Now he's at the beginning of this week, but I haven't heard it yet, so, because we do want to get those things. I said, of the department heads, I don't see any way this impacts, for instance, the water department. But by the very virtue of me saying that is the reason we need to sit down with all the department heads, because just because I can't anticipate how it impacts them doesn't mean that they haven't contracted to have all the, those things, the drains, clean that day. I mean, we have to be all on the same page. Yes, but I know at least the Congregational Church, St. Mary's, is going to have hot dogs and hamburgers, grills.
And so we have to,
We're hoping to have hot dogs and hamburgers, pizza,
Ice cream.
ice cream. There was something else. Perhaps American barbecue. It seems like there were 5, and it won't come to my mind.
just some of the stuff I gotta need to
Maybe
know
call me the
about,
block, yeah.
so that we can
Yep.
see the plan. Make sure
Right.
that there's proper safeguards to make sure no one gets burnt and someone doesn't blow themselves up with a propane cylinder. And if there is a fire, they can deal with it. Is there going to be any charcoal or anything like that? Because getting disposing of that is going to be
Yep.
an important thing too. We don't need that in the dumpster. Because I'll be back up there in a couple hours.
So we'll ask for more detailed
Yes.
description from the
And,
churches.
Do you need any support from the fire department or emergency management with barricades? I got that trailer full of barricades.
We definitely need barricades.
Yeah, I was
So
planning on
it's just where, when, and what time, so I can
where-
get them out.
Where, when, and what time?
Where, when, and what time? I'm gonna have my officers arrive at about 9 o'clock. We're gonna start setting things up at 9. I presume that you're telling everybody to be there by 10. So between 9 and 10 is gonna be the lion's share of all the traffic. So that's when I'd like the barricades to be available to us is 9. And on this list, it shows you where we're planning on putting control points and signage and barricades. But I'll have an officer specifically assigned to that.
Okay, so we can,
Probably Sergeant May will be in charge of that.
so we can, when it gets time for that, we can coordinate all that, so I can make sure that the stuff gets there at the appropriate time, gets picked up at the appropriate time. Yes,
We're
okay.
looking into rubbish removal, we're looking into street sweepers. A street sweeper has already been volunteered to us. Rubbish removal, we haven't, we don't know who exactly is gonna provide that, but we are aware that we have to find rubbish removal.
And I did talk to Action. They will put an ambulance in the parade, but they'll also support us with a paramedic, and I'm going to try to supply an EMT. They have a gator that can ride up and down the parade route and deal with any medical issues, and that'd be a good way to distributing the water and stuff, I guess.
So have we overlooked anything?
Regards to the bike race, is it possible, and it's up, I don't know how we deal with it, to suggest that they use, obviously, that if we close the road, use the yellow brick road on your chart here. And would it be possible to them to use a water station at the corner of Cross Street and Central Street? You know, the big island there? Would that be feasible? In other words, I don't know if it is or it isn't, or is...
It might be big enough, yeah.
They're gonna put a few porta potties there, and at least, well, it's not gonna be as good as the common, but
No,
I don't know how
I
that's
think
gonna
it'd be
affect.
adequate. I think it'd be adequate. I don't think they use the whole common when they do it.
Yeah,
No, they generally would set up around like back the gazebo or the bandstand.
Right, yeah.
And they'd have one porta potty there on the
Yeah,
common.
I think that would
Right,
be
that would give them
adequate.
an alternative that they could, you know, within the same general area, to just be, would they be, they willing to change the bike, just to
Yeah.
raising funds, so as they take a slight detour. I don't, it's not a race per se, so.
No, it's not. It's
Maybe we could suggest to them to see if that's adequate, and that would at
And
least,
we don't know what their route is. Do they continue on to Ipswich?
they do. Yeah.
So they would be coming
Cross
across.
Central, Bennett Hill, Weathersfield, Independent, Summer, and
yeah, they
Maine.
would follow the regular yellow route you got, which would dump them down onto, what was it, 133, and then, so they bypass the common altogether.
I was thinking maybe
Go down
they
Bradford
could
Street to,
ask, that one of the, businesses on Route 1A, if they could just set up something there, there's,
Well, either that or
right
if they-
here, right south of us.
do
that
they go
could
by the
probably-
VFW?
Well, we'd like to kind of keep the Bradford
Yeah.
Street. I mean, the
Well,
bike
but how have you
thing
got
is
the
a whole
traffic?
new.
Well, I
That's
guess
how
my
the
question
traffic-
is,
That's
how
how the traffic is
gonna go down Bradford Street?
kind of on Bradford to Weathersfield.
So maybe they could see if the VFW would be willing to let them set up something in the back of the, I'm just trying to figure how we can give them a water station
Yeah.
in that general area.
I'm thinking that I know that Fred Hardy is running his Patriot Riders motorcycles. I
Right,
wouldn't
so
be
they're probably
surprised if he'll.
They'll probably have a function afterward
Exactly.
too.
I know Dave Irving wants the Triton Band to set up at the VFW, which is not what I had envisioned, but it may still happen. So,
Right, well, maybe,
I'm trying not to add 600
right.
bikers to that.
then maybe if they use Cross and Central Street, then they're just gonna continue on, whatever way you've got the traffic diverted anyway, they'll just continue that way. And
That's
that's the best that we can do for them, I guess.
that is the best. It's certainly less than ideal.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about that many bikes and that many diverted cars sharing the same roadway.
I don't think we're gonna have much choice, are we? Because they're not gonna change the day of their race, and we can't keep them off the public roads. If we give them an alternate route.
Well, if the road is, the sections that the road is closed, that's
Right.
when they can't go down, what we were thinking.
Right, so they can't come down
Main
1A, so
Street.
we've got to give them an alternate route, which is basically our
The
alternate
same
route.
would be for the
So
traffic.
for better or worse, they're gonna be on that road
Right.
when the cars are. I don't think, there's no way we can avoid that. So all I'm saying is if we give them a water station and a bathroom station
I think
at that intersection, it's big enough,
I think that common would be more than
let
adequate.
them do
It's-
that,
it's
then
plenty
they're
big.
kind of on their own, as they would be anyway.
Right.
And the cars won't be speeding that fast if there's a little bit of traffic and the bikes.
Right.
It just a matter of, you know, the cruisers in the area, they're gonna kinda keep an eye on that area anyway.
Yeah, there should be plenty of
Not
presence.
much else we can do, I mean, it's not the best, but it's.
I suppose they don't want to go down Route 1.
No,
I'm not a
I
biker,
don't
but
think they want, no, they don't wanna go that
These are-
far out of
these
the
are
way, I'm
bicycles.
sure.
I know, I realize that, but I mean, it sounds dangerous to go down Route 1,
Yeah,
but it is nice and straight.
I'm just looking at it, if you talk to them, Debbie or Amy,
Well, it sounds like maybe if,
at least offer them an alternative, and they may,
yeah, well, when you vote to officially close this road at tonight's meeting, we can let them know the road was taken, and I know that Joe Perry said that David Sedgwick is working on the state application, because the town has to file that, I think, as soon as possible.
Right.
That's a little more involved. We can tell them that maybe they could speak to you, we'll give them the plan that we prepared, these road closures, and maybe if you had a recommendation, if they had any questions. Because I think we need to be upfront that there's gonna be traffic diverted
yeah,
in these roads, and they need to be mindful of that as they're biking.
all right.
You know, there could be a lot of traffic on some of these side roads that we normally don't have.
Right.
Bennett Hill.
And you're already diverting the road from traffic to those side roads.
And let them decide what they want to do from there. But the rest stop, if it's on town property, it's the selectmen to
Yeah.
approve it. But if there's some place, I was thinking, just, you know, right down the street here at one of the businesses, you know, maybe they would offer. Some of them have a large parking lots.
problem is a lot of the businesses, well, like you said, the VFW would be a good choice, but the chances are they're being taken. Bradford Tavern probably wants to stay open because they're gonna be doing business.
Yeah, I was
White
thinking
Farms
that
would be the
maybe-
same thing, they're gonna be selling a lot of ice cream that day, I'm sure, they're not gonna wanna close it off or,
And we are working on ways to notify the public that lives on those roads that the roads will be closed. We were wondering if we have access to the reverse 911 system, and that is area specific.
yeah, I think we could do
I
that.
believe it is.
Yeah,
That would,
Well, I think the selectmen were gonna decide yet, because they wanted to make sure their letter's gonna go out to the people.
They can.
Is it the 375th, or did you want the selectmen's office to do it? I didn't know if that was
well, do we have to
something.
notify each person with a letter?
I didn't know if there would be a general letter that would just I would recommend if you're closing their roads, and there's no parking, people may be planning things and not knowing, so I think the more you follow up.
We have notified the churches and the funeral home, the churches not to plan weddings that day.
We can get an abutters list and labels from the assessor's office and just mail out a notice, informing them of what roads are gonna be closed and where the no parking areas are, with a phone number to call someone if they have questions.
Is the blackboard system just the whole broadcast, or can you
No, you can
specific?
pick out
You can do
streets.
specific
We're able to-
locations.
You have to, you can go by streets and.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
But not everybody's in the system, that's the other
Right.
thing.
No,
too.
that's the other issue.
Well, the other thing is if we notify depending on how you tailor the message, if you notify everybody in town, that also serves as a little free publicity to get people there.
If you
Yeah, it's
can-
an
And then tailor
invitation.
it to the following streets will be, so that we kind of serve two purposes,
Right.
rather than cut out half the town.
Well, I
make
think
it
that more
press
people
release, I
know
can put it
Yeah,
that there's gonna
exactly.
be
Facebook page.
a lot of
Twitter
activity on
account.
this end, and
We
they
do
need to
have
travel
some
through this
people
way, they
that-
know they're not gonna be able.
yeah, so businesses downtown should probably be notified as well, because, like the Raleigh Pharmacy's gonna essentially be closed for 2 hours. Archie's, the
Yeah, a lot of them
antique
will pick
show.
up some extra business, probably,
They might.
actually, with foot traffic down
Right,
there.
yeah.
There will be
Right,
like
They
they've
might
never
just like to
seen in a
know
long time.
to stock in extra tonics.
Yeah, water and sodas and guys like me with coffee.
But we definitely intend, and right now we're working on how to notify the MBTA. So one of our members was trying to work that out.
Right.
Because Railroad Ave
That's
is
his
one of the
train.
roads that
That's
is
right.
going to be inaccessible. I think there's only one train on a Saturday morning that would be affected, but we still need to, I don't think they're really going to stop running the train, but we need to find some way to notify those passengers that are coming to Raleigh that they're not going to be able to get out
Well,
of
there's-
Railroad Ave.
on Saturday, there's not that many cars that
No,
use the
very
railway
few.
station anyway.
And actually, if there's a car or two, you can, if there's a police officer there, they can
Yeah,
get
you
them
know,
down there if they need to.
That's
get
part of the
them.
reason for the signs, is to keep it
Yeah.
open. I mean, certainly we don't want traffic flowing, but, and I could suggest maybe you could post a couple of signs down at MBTA a week or two in advance on a Saturday that says, on this date, like they do with Nelson.
Yeah. I do see Nelson signs around town. Are they coming through town again?
Yes.
Yeah, the 6th.
No, no. I did go and check the date when I saw the sign.
We need a motion then to close, assuming we get state approval. Route 1A from Railroad Avenue
I have
to
great confidence in Davis Sedgwick.
Independence Street, is that?
We're gonna close 1A all the way down to, from Railroad Ave, actually,
From
from Cross
Cross
Street
To
to
133.
Route 133.
Okay, I'll give you the motion
I'll
to
second it.
do that, assuming that we get the,
Right.
state approval.
I would also like to take this moment to make sure the selectmen know that they are invited and encouraged to participate in our parade. We're thinking we'd like to get an antique car for some of you, because Bob Mary is
Are you
probably
saying
going to
we're
be...
antiques and you want us to
No,
put
I'm just
put us
getting
in
an antique car. Bob Mary will probably be with old Nancy.
He's gonna be riding that cannon.
Yeah. And Joe Perry is chairman of the committee, so he's probably going to be marching with the
Right.
375th committee. But the three of you gentlemen, we would definitely wish to have you in the parade.
Thank you.
Throw us an old antique car.
Say it again?
You throw us in an old antique car.
Well, what would you rather have?
I can give you the Tahoe. You can play with the lights and the sirens.
But you'd put out fires along the way, too.
No, that's okay.
The cemetery has a new backhoe.
No, let's not even go there.
Mr. Chairman,
Could ride in the bucket.
The what? Chief? The what?
Mr.
I've
Chairman,
done that before.
you need to also vote on the no parking zones.
Yeah, I
too.
was gonna ask that. I said the cemetery has a new
Oh,
backhoe.
Why don't we do the
if
first
we
motion?
vote on the first one, then we'll go to the no
We'll go to the
parking.
next one. Yeah. So the motion's been made and seconded for the road closures. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Now, you need the roads, no parking signs where?
The chief has outlined the parking restrictions, and I think then we just need to confirm too, if the 375th committee is gonna handle, I would suggest, dropping something in the mail, and if you wanna do it, or you want the selectmen's office to do it, but they can get the abutters list, and they'll print the labels.
Yeah.
And
I think we definitely gotta notify the people on Railroad Avenue because that's a dead-end street.
Yep, yep.
Yes.
But there's all these
And
no
warehouse
parking
and ocean?
areas.
It's all...
Yeah.
I will give you a motion that we restrict parking as designated by the chief on Independence Street from Main to Summer, Pleasant Street, the eastbound, the even side, Hammond Street, Main Street to number 15, Jellison Road, and Railroad Avenue, Main Street to Route 35, which is designated in other areas as may be determined by the chief at the last minute.
At the last
Some
minute,
extra
so was
signs.
it?
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded for the street closings and parking restrictions. All those saying, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And then, Mr. Chairman, we just got notified today from Triton Youth Soccer. They're asking about how they're gonna have access to Veterans Field for soccer games.
Is Veterans Field the one behind Pine Grove?
Yes.
Yeah.
We...
There are 4 games on Saturday.
Well, I don't have the answer to that. We sat down with the Parks and Recreation Committee at least 6 months ago, possibly in the fall, to tell them we were doing this. And Tim Southall assured us he would notify the Parks and the league that they couldn't have any games behind Pine Grove School because they can't get there. So from our perspective, we did our due diligence. We felt as though we had addressed that problem long ago, so this is a new problem that's rearing its head to me today.
I think they're trying to do their schedule though, so we were trying to explain to them the selectmen hadn't voted on any road closures yet, so I couldn't say anything, but if you think they'd be able to have 1A open in the afternoon, then maybe they can schedule these games
Well,
in the
after
afternoon.
12:30, the road will be open, right?
So,
Yeah,
Well,
let's
it's
give
one.
us a
Well, I
little-
mean-
let's
12:30 is
give us a
pretty
little
close.
weasel room.
Well, let's say 1 o'clock. In other words, if we tell them, I mean, we pick a time, 1:30, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I told them I would get guidance after the board,
What'd you say?
maybe
1:30.
1:30, yeah.
Maybe-
Yeah, all right,
no
because you need time.
no
to-
earlier than 1:30,
Yeah.
just
Right.
because I think you still might have residual.
We've also invited the
Right.
recreation committee to have the soccer teams and everything
Well,
participate.
soccer is independent of the recreation
Yeah.
committee per
This
se.
wasn't-
But he was our liaison to
Right.
that.
I would say, they could have access after 1:30.
The road should be
Yeah.
open, and I don't know if there's, I wasn't sure as well if there was any parking at the Pine Grove
Well,
School for the
we're hoping
parade.
to use that as for resident parking.
So I let them know there could be some parking issues.
Right.
Yep. It was all working better when they weren't gonna have soccer games there. For all
Yeah,
those-
and
all
I don't
those
know,
reasons.
they're just trying to get, I got an email from the soccer association, not the
Mhm.
rec, and that's why
Yeah, I mean, if they could avoid games on Saturday and have them Sunday or
Or
something,
have
that
them
would be,
later. Makes
that
sense.
would work out much
Yeah.
better, but we can't dictate to,
no.
I mean, they're not gonna have any access between
Right.
10:30
Yeah.
and
1:30.
1:30.
1:30, correct.
There's actually 4 Triton teams that use that space, the Veterans Field. And one of the questions they're asking is, could you please let me know if the fields are expected to be closed all day? Or could morning or late afternoon games be played?
Late
Late
afternoon.
afternoon would be no problem.
Yeah, morning
Yeah.
would be kind
I
of,
think that's how they
Morning's,
want it,
morning's
yeah.
not gonna happen.
no.
Right.
Okay,
So I think if we let them know after, what do you think?
After 1:30 or 2, maybe even make
like
it 2 o'clock
better
if you
than-
want.
than 1:30.
Yeah, why don't we say after
Yeah.
2 o'clock,
After 2 o'clock,
the fields
okay.
will be available.
Because the parade is a
Yeah.
morphing thing, and I
Yeah.
said I'd accept parade applications until September 1st.
Yeah, no, we don't wanna, we'd rather have everything pretty much
Right.
cleared out,
yeah.
and then they'll start coming in. So let's say after 2 o'clock, do you need a motion for that, or you just wanna?
Well, I'll let them know, well, if the board would like to, then I've got something
at
from the
least
selectmen
it's
to
a
let them know
official, I
that.
I give you a motion to allow the soccer second use after 2 o'clock.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Opposed, motion carried.
All right, is there anything else, Debbie, that you, or you,
I
anybody?
think that was it, Joe Perry was just looking for authorization, if there could be a vote, to just authorize him at his discretion if he needs to use the second floor of the town hall
I'll give you that
for
motion.
any of the events that the
I'll give you a motion
weather's.
to authorize second floor if they need it.
Second it.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded to authorize the use of second floor in case of inclement weather.
We have been very lucky
Yeah, we
Town Hall Auditorium. All
with
those
the
in favor
concerts.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I think that was it.
Okay. Let's see,
That was it.
back to new business and get rid of that.
All right, thank you very much.
We go now?
Chief, take care. Susan, thank you.
And I think we're all set on the next one, Bob.
What's that?
A few other bike races.
Yes,
we're all-
we
we're all
actually
set.
discussed that, and we'll try
We're all
to,
set with that, Debbie,
Good
right?
night,
The
Chief.
few other bike
Thank
race
you.
with the,
We'll explain to them that the parade route is set and that if they want to work out a water rest stop somewhere on those other roads, then they.
yeah, I think ideally would be Cross Street and Center. It's a fairly good-sized
Yeah,
common. And they could set it up in such a way that they could actually make a little Y going the other way to pull in,
Yeah.
safely without blocking traffic
yeah.
on the alternate route, so.
okay, so new business number 4, update on Eastern Essex Veterans District Director position job posting. The position of Veterans Service Director for the Eastern Essex Department of Veteran Services has been posted at the Town Hall and on the town's website. And I will read the posting into the record, and Selectman Snow will give a brief update on the district.
Well, not much to report, except we have another meeting this Thursday night at 7 o'clock over at the Ipswich Town Hall for the Veterans Board members. And we started the search process for a new director. And it's going to be very difficult because who Terry Hart was, it's to fill that position. I'll just have to wait until we see the candidates that come in, and I imagine we'll probably get about, I'm guessing probably about 20 candidates we'll get applications for, and then there'll be a subcommittee to narrow that down to about 3. And we'll go through the process. And again, it's, you know, anybody who knew Terry, understand this is a very difficult position because of who Terry was. Terry was, you know, as I said before, bigger than life. And it's going to be tough shoes to fill.
No question about it.
No doubt.
No question about it.
And as the veterans come back, you know, from overseas in this war and winds down, there's going to be more push on that job, you know, to have somebody who's competent, who knows what's going on. So,
Plus, there are a lot of older veterans in need of services too.
Yes.
So, you know, they keep popping up.
yeah, it's we're at the point now where the Vietnam veterans are now like the World War II veterans. You know,
So the job posting is help wanted, Eastern Essex Department of Veteran Services. The Eastern Essex Department of Veteran Services seeks qualified candidates for full-time exempt position of Veterans Service Director. Position delivers essential services to veterans and their eligible dependents living within the Eastern Essex District. Accepts applications and makes initial determinations of eligibility, meets with and provides assistance to veterans and their dependents. Candidates should be able to interpret and explain federal and state benefits programs and legislation to interested groups and potential benefits recipients, and have excellent interpersonal, written, and oral communication skills. Bachelor's degree in administration, business, or social work, and 2 years of similar full-time work experience or equivalent combination of education and work experience required. Must be a veteran pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 4, Section 7. Reports to the Eastern Essex Department of Veteran Services Board of Directors. Complete job description is available at www.ipswichma.gov. Competitive salary, DOQ. To apply, please send a completed town application available at www.ipswichmass.gov. Cover letter and resume to Jennifer Breaker, HR Director, 25 Green Street, Ipswich, Mass. 01938, or JENNIFERB@ipswich-mass.gov. Applications will be accepted until position is filled, and with initial cutoff date of August 18th, 2014, and EEO/AA employer. So, hope we get that squared away and you guys find a good candidate.
I think we will get a lot of candidates.
Yeah. Okay, new business item number 5. And this is the Town of Rowley Board of Selectmen, Rowley, Mass. Dear Mr. Mary, New England Dairy Promotional Board is a not-for-profit marketing and promotional company that works on behalf of New England's dairy farmers. Our goal is to increase current and lifelong consumption of dairy products, educate people about dairy farming, and promote the purchase of milk and dairy foods. On Friday, August 22nd, 2014, Fox 25 Boston will be broadcasting live from the town common as part of their seasonal Zip Trip series. New England Dairy Promotional Board is excited to be a part of this day by participating in our own featured segment called Must Be the Milk. Kathy Herrick, a dairy farmer from Herrick Farm located in Rowley, will be joining us for the segment. The focus will be discussion on dairy farm history, dairy farmers' commitment to their community, and producing a wholesale and nutritious product. New England Dairy Promotional Board would like to request permission and a permit for Herrick Farm to bring a calf to the town common to add to the excitement and festivities of the upcoming Zip Trip on August 22nd. On behalf of New England Dairy Promotional Board, we thank you for your time and consideration with this request. Kind regards, Kathy Serrata, Regional Marketing Manager, New England Dairy Promotional Board. What is our
I'll give you the motion to approve that.
Second that.
motion made and seconded to allow the New England Dairy Promotional Board to have a heifer on the town common on August 22nd. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're on to old business number 3. It's a continued discussion on request to place children at play signs on Summer and Independence Streets. The Selectmen asked Highway Surveyor Patrick Snow to look into the cost to paint the word slow on Independence Street. Please see attached email from Pat. Dear Board of Selectmen, I have received some verbal quotes from road painting companies. It will cost between $20 and $30 per word to have slow painted on the 2 locations we discussed on Independence Street. We cannot have slow children painted on the road or posted on signs anymore due to the fact that some people may be offended. I will proceed with the painting at the approval of the Board of Selectmen. Thank you, Patrick Snow, Highway Surveyor. I did have a chance to talk to Pat today, and he mentioned that the state particularly has been frowning on the words slow children.
That's understandable.
And, you know, it's
Yeah, no, I don't, I can agree with that.
And he indicated to me that most of the towns now are using slow as the word that they put on the road. Because you can't really paint slow children on the road either, but you know, it's the same issue with the sign. And he mentioned that children at play is, they kind of frown on that statement also, slow children at play, just children at play. Only because it's so large, it's harder to read. So he suggested that maybe the word slow painted on the road would be what we should use. And I think that would help.
I think that'll catch people's attention.
Yes.
Rather than a sign,
Yeah.
you know, a standing sign.
Yeah.
And I think by keeping it just the word slow, I think that gets the point across.
Again,
That's
people's
true.
attention is mostly on the road.
Yeah, they're on the
Super
road,
slow.
they're gonna, signs, they just start going by at least slow, they'll see it, hopefully see it.
And for $20 or $30, we can't go wrong. The sign's
No.
probably gonna cost us 3 times that much. By the
20,
time-
30.
By the time you get it printed and staked and posted,
You're right.
with the labor to install it and everything else, so.
Right, yeah, it's cheap enough.
So I'll entertain a motion if it's.
Whereabouts are they gonna be painted though?
They want one on Independence Street when you turn off at Main.
Yeah,
and one
and the
down
other
on
one
the end
down
of
beyond
Summer.
Roberts.
Yeah, down by Roberts or somewhere.
Good idea.
Are they for Independence Street? Or are they on
Well,
Summer Street?
that's where this person lives. Well, I think his original request was Independent and Summer, but it was down at the corner of Independent and Summer. Isn't that what he said in his letter?
Yeah, he's up on this
I
side.
thought it was Main Street.
Yeah, from
Main
the end
Street.
of Main Street.
Yeah, one there,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
one down on Summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But they're both on Independence Street.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or one's on, yeah.
How big are the letters?
I don't know. He didn't really say how big
Yeah.
they were gonna be. I'm assuming they're the same type that you use for cautions and stuff like that.
36 inches, I think.
I think that much.
I don't have any objection.
Maybe
So they're just gonna put slow, so it's only 4 letters, so that would be, what, 30 the top, so that's 60, 100,
$60.
20, 250.
No, it's 30 per word.
per word.
Per word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it'd be
Two
100.
words would be $60.
Yeah.
Not letter, per word.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
per
so
word.
it'd be $60. I don't know.
They basically had the stencil all made up.
Oh,
We do not have a caution still.
That's cheap money.
Yeah,
Stencil, they don't use
Sign.
those.
I'm not sure how much real
I'll give
good
you
it
a
does.
motion, Mr. Chairman.
So, Mr.
Motion
Chairman,
made.
the letter
Yeah.
from Mr. Bennett said, I'm writing to request that the board consider erecting children and play signs along the perimeter of the town common, especially along the Independent Street and Summer Street side of the town common. And then he put on the map, he was requesting, so it was Summer Street and Independent and Main Street and Independent on either side of that stretch of Independent.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
know if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's,
Patrick is
that's,
looking for some guidance.
Yep.
So one would be where the funeral home is, and the other
Yeah, I
would be.
think what you would do is when you came down Summer Street, you would put it on Independent on the right-hand side of Independent, right at Summer, and do the same on the Main Street side. That way, when you're turning in to either off of Summer or off of Main, you would come right to it. It would be right there. So the motion's made. Did I get a second?
No, you didn't get a second yet.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next order of business is minutes. May 19th.
Can we do the Broad Street
oh, we got the
baseball?
Broad Street baseball.
Oh, no, we didn't. No, we didn't do that. Let's do that. Brad Street Baseball Field Project Update. Bob, Mary, and Dave Peterson will give an update on this project. Marine Engineering has conducted geotechnical studies of the proposed baseball field at the Brad Street Activity Recreation Parcel. Development of this area is challenging due to a high groundwater and an under system would need to be built, which can increase the cost by more than $200,000. Bob and Dave have been working with Tim Saltall on the Recreation Committee and Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak on existing areas that may be able to be developed into a baseball field. So we got a copy of the report and the actual.
Basically, Mr. Chairman, just to kind of give an overview, is we've been developing plans for the baseball field to be constructed at the Broad Street site. It's a challenging site in the fact of where the ball field and ultimately a larger facility would be located. It needs to be leveled, and because of the size of the site, we needed to get a drainage permits through the federal government, and so Brent Bazelak was involved with that. At the time, we needed to get, along with guaranteeing the construction of the field, ground tests. Well, the testing was done, and as a result of that, on the second page of your packet, number one, the groundwater was very close to the surface. Number two, the soils there are so bad for constructing a ball field that we would basically have to take out the current soil and bring in new soil. We would require crushed stone for proper drainage, as well as because it would have to be excavated out of the side of the hill. We're gonna hit the water table, which is close to the surface. So basically, the rough estimate was that to do all this would be $227,000 over and above the cost of constructing the field, which we figured would be another $200,000. So we're talking somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 to construct a Little League field. So Bob, Mary, and myself and Tim agreed that was kind of out of the question. So in looking at an alternative to how we're going to get a baseball field, what we kind of took a new look at Ayers Park and a new look at the fields behind what we call Veterans Field now, behind Pine Grove School. That field there now, there is a softball field, and then there's a large flat field that's used for soccer. It's primarily a soccer field there now. So in measuring things up and looking at things, we've kind of come to the conclusion that we can do some expansion at Ayers Park. There is room up there in the back, up behind Circuit Drive, and possibly some other areas to construct an alternate soccer field. we would then take a look at the field behind the Pine Grove School that's currently used for soccer, and it's large enough to construct a Little League type baseball field. And the advantage to that is that that could be constructed in a year without a lot of construction. All this would be on relatively flat land. Tim Southall, Brent Bazak, and myself went out to Ayers Park in the area behind, it runs that we own behind Circuit Drive into the left rear corner behind the small baseball field. And that land is relatively level, it's dry, and it's large enough to construct a full-size soccer field at that location. In addition, the parking situation up there is tough now with baseball. So if we wanted to construct another baseball field up there to replace a Little League field, that would be in competition with the fields in place already. So you're actually increasing the amount of traffic. Whereas if we put the baseball field down behind Pine Grove and the soccer field up at Ayers Park, it's really two different seasons, so that we get a more year-round use of the facilities. It's all relatively flat territory, so the developmental cost should be much less than what we were talking about at Bradstreet. And there's substantial amount of room up there that we could expand the parking into areas that now are just kind of woodsy and stuff like that, so we could definitely expand the parking. And as a side motion, if we're gonna construct the police fire station up there eventually, that, we need to consider the parking there too. So parking's a real problem, because if you go by there now at night on Little League, baseball nights, that place is packed with cars. In addition, you have the large field being used by the Raleigh Rams and the Post 150 Legion. So it's a busy area up there. So basically, to inform you tonight, and I guess we probably need to take a vote on it, is number one, that we're looking to, at this point, abandon the project of constructing the baseball field on the Bradstreet property. And what we'd like to do is recommend that we repurpose that it's around $200,000 is the available funds for that project. For the construction, at this point, it'd be have Meridian or some other architectural firm come in and let us know what the cost will be to, number one, construct a new baseball field at Veterans Field behind Pine Grove, and then in addition, what the cost, give us a cost estimate on transferring the soccer field up to Ayers Park, so that we could construct a new soccer field up there. Once again, it's a relatively flat area, so that it'd be a minimal cost in terms of, we gotta cut some trees and stuff, as well as assess the parking up there, so that we can increase the parking as much as we can to accommodate all those sports activities. So
Now, the other uses that we were looking at Bradstreet for were tennis courts,
right,
and also a skate park.
And right now, depending on how the layout works out behind Pine Grove, we may be able to do some of that there. Because I know I think our concern somewhat is that the skate park and the tennis courts, we'd almost like to have them in a more public area than way down behind. Because the skateboard park obviously is lots of kids involved, and we'd like to have that somewhat visible. And tennis courts, if you got women or young kids playing tennis somewhere. And so I'm taking a look at a couple of other things that may be up at Ayers Park. Later on, we can talk about a possible expansion up there to put both of those, would go very well up at Ayers Park in that area. So basically, at this point, we're at the initial part of the Bradstreet was just the baseball field. So we're looking to, is that phase one, to transfer that funds, and we'd have to go, if we vote to do that, we would look to, assuming we have a fall town meeting, look to transfer the funds from the Bradstreet part of the project through the CPC. It's CPC money, so we need to go to the CPC and get their permission and apply the funds to both we'll word it in such a way that they can go to Ayers Park and the 200,000, I hope, will be more than enough to do the projects because, you know, it's, like I said, the developmental cost is gonna be less than it would be. So that's where it stands at this point, and I think Bob and I are pretty much agreed, and we got Tim South all on board. We've all, common sense wise, and the other thing was with Brent being involved, he's looked at the property at Eris, and, you know, Conservation Commission wise, where at the most we'd be, if we use that piece up in the back corner, would be within the 100-foot buffer zone. But that shouldn't be a problem with a soccer field, it's not a detrimental use in terms of. So that's basically where it stands, so we're looking to get permission from this board to go ahead and abandon the field building at Brad Street and approach the CPC committee, and at the same time, assuming they say it's okay to transfer that money to the new project, prepare an article for this fall town meeting to do that, so that this winter we can, because our goal really is, as soon as we just want to get out of Haley Field, the current Little League field, as soon as possible. That's a real safety issue up there now with the amount of traffic and the small kids, and it's just a horrible location. And the sooner we can get out of there. And the good part is, if we can use Veterans Field behind Pine Grove, that can be developed relatively quickly. You know, in general terms anyway, so that.
I'll give you that motion.
I don't know if you have anything else, Bob, that you wanted to.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it, and what we were thinking too also, because it's 9 acres in behind the Broad Street.
Right.
That's set aside for that, and because we were developing in stages, we were gonna add the baseball field and tennis court and skateboard park, and we're using a lot of that land. So the land closest to the school is gonna be higher ground. And if it's a less, what do I wanna say?
That's not contiguous, is it?
Yeah, it runs into it, they actually run
Is
into
it?
each other in the back there.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons we set it aside with that location. If we can use something that doesn't require that much drainage, such as a skateboard park or something like that, you know, tennis court or something, we could develop that later on. Because what we're running into is, because the soils are so bad, we have to dig it all out and fill it with a crushed stone and to keep the
Yeah,
fields drained.
Horrendous
The baseball
cost.
field, you have to drain it. Something like a skateboard park is probably going to be some sort of a solid surface where you don't need to worry about drainage and things like that. So we could probably use some of that land still as part of the recreation.
That may not be a good place for a skate park.
Well, yeah, like I said, I
it's
think.
the location that's going to be remote, so it's possible that we could find something else.
Yeah, I really looking up something at Ayers Park, just because we don't want it too remote, because it's all kids who are gonna be doing both those things, or women are gonna be playing tennis, I mean, guys too, but be more concerned about women up there, you know, out of the public eye can be a safety issue. The other thing, if we develop the field at Veterans behind the school, we'd look at enlarging the parking area there to allow for more and better parking, which would benefit the field as well as benefit the school for functions they have, so it would serve a dual purpose for them. At the same time, if we put the Little League field there, there'd be still some field space. Maybe we could put a junior soccer field or something, whatever we'll take a look at the best use and how we can maximize the use of that when the architect comes in and designs the fields.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to transfer, or ask permission from the CPC to transfer the funds to a different location. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we can go to minutes. May 19th, 2014. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
Yes.
I'll give the motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the May 19th
Yep.
minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, you actually have in your package the June 2nd, same as I do, that has, actually has me listed as chairman. That's good. So, has everybody had a chance to read those?
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the June 2nd meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. June 23rd. Yes, we had a chance to look at those. And that's an executive session, actually.
I'll have to abstain from this.
Okay? You were actually absent on this particular meeting.
Mhm.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carried. One abstention. And the June 30th minutes.
I'll give you the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second it.
Motion made and seconded to accept the June 30th minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, if I have done this right, I think we've gone through all of the, I don't see any that are unchecked, so I guess we're all
I
set.
think you're good.
Okay, announcements. The town of Rowley has the following vacancies. Fence viewer, 2 positions. Wood, lumber, and bark inspector. Zoning Board of Appeals Associate, 2 open seats. Historical Commission, Historic District Commission, 4 seats. Parks and Recreation Committee, 2 seats. For more information on these positions, please contact the Selectmen's office at 978-2372. 375th anniversary information and events are posted on the town's website, www.townofrowley.net. And I think you folks have been watching us for any amount of time tonight. We've already discussed that pretty much. Rowley Food Pantry is in need of donations. The food pantry is open Tuesdays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Thursdays, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And they're always looking for non-perishables and sanitary items and paper goods. Water customers need to call Penachuk at 1-800-553-5191 now for billing, payment, and customer service questions. Compact fluorescent light bulbs may be recycled at the Rowley Municipal Light Plant. The light bulbs can be brought down during normal business hours. And those are the squiggly type ones, the curly Q lights, the regular 4-foot and 2-foot tubes, 8-foot tubes, will not be accepted. There being no further business to come before the board tonight, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, we adjourn.
Right, second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.